This is the Discord call. It's a waste of time. Helps you master brain rot. It's where you will learn the art of pressing reverb fart on the soundboard. Once I hit record, you leave everything else behind. Once you enter, there is no going back.
So, I should probably have sex first? I can hold it.
I'm Nabil Sharif, podcaster of the 707th tier degree, and you are my apprentice.
Tier.
Alright, I think we got it.
Beautiful.
Whoa, Cage!
Exactly. And welcome back to Filmatic. Episode 5, or episode 4 of Age of Cage, episode 5 of the season. And of course we're here to talk about the comedy films of Mr. Cage, and we'll be talking about those. But first, let's discuss our guest today. Joining us, at least partially tonight, will be Evan Lamolier. Are you here, Evan?
Yo, Phlegmatic, yeah. I chirp in every once in a while.
Yeah, thank you for helping me out with those reverb farts. And yeah, so of course,
It was all you.
Yeah, it was all me. And Darian's back. What's up, Darian? And KC, some say the co-host of Age of Cage. I don't know.
Some people are saying, people on the streets are saying, KC, thanks for having me.
No worries. And M is here. What's up?
Hello.
All right.
Hello to this guy. Alright.
Oh, you can't.
No,
You're holding.
it was like an edging joke. We were doing like an edging bit. There's
See.
gonna be a lot more like, in the rough draft of the script there's a lot more like Riz, Edge,
Right.
Goon, Baby Gronk.
Ohio?
Will be done. Ohio.
Skippity?
Freak Bob. Skibbity. Am I missing anything?
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Isn't Michael Bay like trying to
Michael Bay.
like sue people or copyright like Skibbity toilets?
No, he's
since
making a
like-
movie, right? Isn't he making a Skibbity
Yeah,
toilet?
but
movie?
like I heard someone recently that there's some like legal thing going on with it.
He's
Damn.
trying to sue people saying
Oh no, like the open source, or not even open source, like who knows like what the model was for the video where it's like the toilet. Never mind. I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
you're
getting
good,
into
you're good.
that. I don't want
Anyway.
to talk about this.
Anyway, yeah.
Before we get started, right at the top, we're going to announce the new giveaway. Filmatic giveaway for Age of Cage while supplies last. Hey guys, we have not one but 2 potential winners to win one of these. If you're on Spotify or YouTube video, you'll be able to see these. If not, you can see them on Instagram. Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider, authentic Japanese poster.
It's good. It looks great.
That's one, and the other one, for the audio listeners, this one features, I believe, what is the standard Ghost Rider poster featuring Nicolas Cage and Eva Mendes, I think, on the cover, and on the back there is some Japanese writing detailing the story of the film, and then the other one is a cover for Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, the sequel, and
Let me just say, these posters are going to be extremely valuable in like 3
Yes.
years when Marvel is so desperate that they just need to bring Ghost Rider back for their Avengers movie.
People are saying that.
people are
Why
saying
was
that.
he not in? Why was he not in? He got burnt by DC doing the little cameo in The Flash, so he doesn't come back for Deadpool Wolf. It's fucked up.
No, they're saving.
The
Secret
next
Wars.
Deadpool Wolf.
Secret
They
Wars.
didn't want to have Nicolas Cage stealing Hugh Jackman's
Thunder.
spotlight.
That's true.
Yeah.
The next
All I can say
movie
is-
Deadpool and Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
I
I
would see
am.
that.
All I can say is I'm excited for episode 10 of Age of Cage, which we reviewed the Ghost Rider films.
That's true. That is coming up in
With our pal Nick Cage.
He's coming on for that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
Nick Cage. We're
Nick
trying,
Cage is coming on.
we're trying to get him on for that one.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna be here. He's
It
also
wouldn't make sense to have him on any other.
We're gonna have Jeff is basically gonna act as the Javi character in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and loan us $1 million, and we're gonna
Oh,
and we're gonna hire Nicolas Cage to come on the podcast.
You know, and I also hear that Nick Cage may be putting up that T-Rex skull he owns as a giveaway item. So, be sure to well, no, I'm not holding everyone to that, but
that'd be
I heard
crazy.
it through the grapevine.
Yeah, but yeah,
Or
so
like one of his 20 mansions.
yeah, true. Have you guys seen his tomb that he bought? It's like a giant pyramid. I'm not even kidding. He bought a gigantic tomb in like New
Yeah.
Orleans. It's like literally a pyramid. I'm not kidding. It's insane. All right, so of course we're talking about Matchstick Men, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. First off, of course, let's discuss Matchstick Men, which came out the first chronologically in 2003 and directed by Ridley Scott. So, first of all, I just want to say this is the comedy episode, but some of us, we were debating as we were watching the movie that was this a comedy or not? Do we want to talk about that? Does anyone feel this is not a comedy? Because I know, Evan, maybe you were saying like it's like a black comedy or something.
I mean, there were I think it was kind of a bunch of things, but I think it was, I don't know, I wouldn't put comedy as its main genre, probably, but that's alright. I feel like every movie is kind of a blend.
I think that's the question, though, is what would you put it in then? And I mean, we can get to that as we talk about the movie more, but I think it's also just a general conversation with Cage as a whole. But when you have an actor like him, who he's part of the mystique around him, which we'll get to, especially in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, is that almost anything he does is at least seen by some people as funny because of who it is playing a character.
He just has this ability to kind of completely stick out and feel almost alien within any scene he's in.
Yeah.
In the sort of way that it's he goes against what everyone else, all the other characters in the scene or even the whole movie are kind of the kind of I guess style they're acting in.
And I think that's what comes up in this movie is that I think it's a comedy. Let me just say, first of all, when I say this, I think Nick Cage's performance is great. I think he is what brings this movie to a comedy. The way he performs, I think the overall if you were looking at this on paper, this script, I think there are jokes in it, and there are some lines that tend to lean more towards comedy. But I think his portrayal of the character, and specifically his interactions with the other people in the film, are what elevates it to what I would consider to be a comedy. I was laughing, and I think a lot of us were laughing our way. And I think also the absurdity of certain situations leans into that as well. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think that's fair. And I think I would definitely agree that he himself kind of injects, not just humor, but his, as Evan described, his kind of typical performance, which I think encompasses humor naturally, in how he acts, whether we want to call that, alien-like or just, any number of things that we see throughout his movies that we'll talk about. But I guess we should just jump into the plot, which is, and I guess I'll just start and, again, feel free to stop me at any point if you have something to say. But, so, of course, he plays Roy, who is a, con artist living in Los Angeles with, is it confirmed Tourette's? I don't know.
It says, at least on the Wikipedia, it says severe OCD and Tourette's.
Yeah. Right. And so yeah, we get introduced to that pretty quickly. And I guess we could talk about that, which is I think maybe it's, debatable or whether it's dated in some ways or not. But at the very least, I think the OCD and paranoia that comes from that and having something like Tourette's, I think is displayed very well in the movie, and especially again with Ridley Scott directing. It's kind of unlike, it's surprising to know that he directed this because it's directed unlike anything else he's ever made, as far as I've seen at least. And it feels more so along the lines of an almost Safdie-esque, a Safdie film.
Yeah.
But just wanted to say that. But yeah, so he runs cons with Sam Rockwell's character and selling like these overpriced water filtration systems to people and conning them out of their money. And when we begin the film, Roy loses his medication and loses his doctor, his former doctor who was hooking him up with the medication. And so Sam Rockwell's character suggests that he goes and sees a psychiatrist that he recommends. And the psychiatrist gives Roy a new medication and starts to kind of delve into, his life and like what we later find out, might be causing his psychosis. And we find out that he had an ex-wife who was pregnant, and the psychiatrist kind of arranges Roy, or encourages Roy to reach out to her. And eventually Roy makes him talk to her, and they find out, and Roy is informed rather, that by the psychiatrist that he has a 14-year-old daughter who wants to meet him, named Angela. And when they meet, it's kind of a very rocky start, but eventually I think, as we see throughout the movie, Roy really, something that he really needs, and it really starts to affect his like day-to-day life, and he's not really having the outbursts as much, and he's not being as like OCD as he normally is. And the backdrop of this father-daughter relationship is that Roy and Sam Rockwell's character are trying to con someone, and that's in the background of this. Meanwhile, Roy is trying to get closer with his daughter still, and eventually starts to teach her how to con people. And this all kind of
I feel like that's probably might be a good place to stop for a moment.
Yeah.
Just to talk about a couple of things. One important thing I feel like to also mention is that this psychiatrist starts giving him new medicine, and he's taking it. He's hanging out with his daughter more, and as Nabil was kind of saying, she starts staying at his house and different things. They become more closely connected, and all of those things, as you're getting to, like, starts to make him kind of act and feel better about like his life and paranoia that comes along with not only his disability, but also with his like lifestyle and career choices. But I think if we want to talk about like the father-daughter relationship, I think that's specifically like when they first meet, it is like a rough start, but also she is very like, I think much more so than you would like normally expect from a movie. Like it starts off by portraying it in a very like unique way, in that she's like almost like overly enthusiastic about wanting to know him and what he does, which I think normally you would have a portrayal where it's like the daughter's kind of resistant because her dad has been out of her life for so long, and maybe that sets off some things for you about where this relationship is going to actually lead, which we'll get to.
Well, I think this kind of starts to tie into something that we should talk about, which is like, in the experience of watching the movie, some of us were starting to speculate things, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess this. I don't know. We can talk about it and debate it, but like maybe I just got conned, so to speak. But like, you guys were saying like, no, the daughter's like, she's trying to fucking like kill him, or not kill him. Do you know what were you guys like speculating? Like, I don't know.
I just thought she was acting like kind of flirty.
Yeah,
which is obviously weird for someone's daughter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I was like, maybe the actress is just like really like bombing the fucking role, but I knew that was unlikely based on like the consistency of that tone. So I was like, there's this also just like a line he delivers to her pretty early on where he's like, make sure the person that you're conning, or maybe it's not to her, but he's like, make sure the person that you're conning isn't conning you. And I was like, okay, hold on. This is like, you're starting to like make me question what the fuck's going on. And then she's acting kind of weird, so. I don't know.
There's a lot of dialogue that, like, again, like, it's weird because it does, like, border on a little, like a little, like, flirtatious. I wouldn't say, like, overtly sexual, but, like, definitely, like, flirtatious in a way, which I do think is important to mention. Like, I do think that is intentional in the writing of the script. But I will say that, like, along with that, they also do have, like, sweet moments that do feel like, okay, this is, like, showing, like, genuine, like, connection building between them, which I feel like is also integral to the story later on. As, like, these two people do build, like, a genuine connection with each other that is, like, on a deeper level that clearly, like, changes Roy's life and seems to also change hers in some way. So yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I guess, like, everything else in his life kind of takes a backseat until he starts involving her in it. So he teaches her how to con. That's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, is him teaching her how to do this lottery ticket scam. I don't know if you want to go into that.
I mean,
I also just
guess,
want to say, I don't know when it gets introduced. I think it might be before that. Maybe I'm wrong. But the like backdrop of this is that he's also planning like this like big time, like on a different level scheme with Sam Rockwell's character. So it's like, it's kind of like you have this like pressure building on him where things are happening and he's like, fuck, I'm trying to spend time with my daughter, but this is
Yeah.
like really important. And so I think that's also an aspect of like, I guess we can talk about the lottery ticket first, but the relationship he
Yeah.
has with his therapist kind of revolves around not only his daughter, but I also think like the stress that he's under from this other thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. As far as the lottery ticket, I guess what happens is they teach her to scam. They do one con where it's like they change one of the numbers on the ticket.
so-
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
They buy a lottery ticket and enter the numbers of the lottery that won a couple of days ago, and then have the ticket printed, and then they scratch off the like last part of the date. It was like the 22nd versus 20th or something like that. So they cross off the 2 of the 22nd and add a 0. And then she goes into the laundromat and like starts talking to a woman, forms a little girly bond with her, and then drops the receipt. And then it becomes a thing of like Nick Cage is there and he just happens to have a newspaper. And so they look and see that, you know, they have all of the numbers, but and then like you still get money if you don't have all the numbers. So they do that.
Yeah.
But
and
then
he
she's
makes her.
like, I gotta go. She's like, I gotta go home to my mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how
yeah.
they get the cash out of the lady.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's like,
so because she thinks she can just go get that money back in a moment.
Yeah.
But then I think it's important to like mention, like, she brings that money back to Nick Cage and Roy, that's his name, and then he makes her give the money back. He doesn't let her keep the money. So he's trying to balance his life between like teaching his daughter like actual like life skills and then also like trying to connect with her through this work that he does, which I think overall, like, I think I also just want to talk about like I really like the character building in this movie. I think Roy is like, I mean, he has flaws, which is like good for a character to have, obviously, but I think he's genuinely like a very likable character, which I think connects to a lot of like deeper themes about the movie of like what it means to be a good person and have like good relationships with people. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like I don't know, the strength of the character building is what threw me off with the ending. Not saying I didn't like. I don't know. We'll talk about it obviously, but like I think it's a dangerous game to play. It's like a ballsy turn to make. You know, at the end.
Yeah.
With that and like with it seeming like a different movie, but yeah. So they do that. Then Roy again. This ulterior ulterior plot with the businessman that they're trying to con gets like pushed up, and again, like Darian said, like there's a clash of like him trying to spend time with her and this guy's trying to scam this guy. And they find out that his flight is gonna leave sooner, so they decide to make a move on him before he leaves. And so the con for him was with the British money, right? So it's like the does anyone want to explain it more succinctly than I can? Probably. It's like
Yeah, so the idea is like I think it's using something with like exchange rates. So he's like using like international money to basically like, well, if you give me $80,000 cash, I have this system in which I can give you this amount of money in, you know, like pounds or whatever it is. And this what they're trying to do is like have this meeting in the airport where they're gonna switch over without him noticing. They're gonna show him the real money and then switch it out for another briefcase that has, you know, probably something that weighs something in it. And so he ends up with nothing, and he ended up just giving them, you know, $80,000. But yeah, I think important to mention is like Roy and his daughter were on like they were bowling, and the reason why she has to come along with him on this con now is because he doesn't have time to take her home. I mean, he doesn't want to like just leave her alone, which is like, I was going to say, oh yeah, there's a specifically, I don't know why this stuck in my head, but he's, no, I don't want you to, she could just take the bus or like get home some other way. But he's like, no, I don't want you to do that, which I think is like interesting because I think he also does like, it's a question of like, does he want her to be there? Because then he brings her, could just tell her to stay in the car, but no, he makes like an active effort to then like be like, no, you're gonna do this thing. You're gonna be directly involved in it, which I think is a big important shift as well.
Well, also, I think before that, he has a conversation with his therapist where he's like, not admitting that he's a criminal to the therapist, but he's like, my daughter helped me make this, like, sale on an antique piece, and, like, sometimes you have to, like, lie about the value of an item, but, like, it felt, like, wrong because I had my daughter do that, but, like, she was so good at it. And then it, like, ends with him being like, no, it was fucking awesome. Like, I liked having her work with me. And I think part of this is, like, what you're bringing up, right, about, like, I think, like, he is a good guy. Like, he makes her give the money back. And he doesn't, like, have to bring her with him. And, like, part of it he justifies because he doesn't want to have her come. But I think at the end of the day, and we can talk about this more, I think a lot of what's going on, it's hard to discern whether or not it's actually his own character wanting her to be involved and like actually enjoying that, or if it's like the psychiatrist therapist guy is just like priming him to think about these things. And again, we're gonna have to come back to it, but I think that's another interesting part where it's like he's kind of like, you know, he's getting more and more stressed out about this big thing coming up, and he's talking to his therapist about getting his daughter involved in the lottery scam and stuff. And I think the therapist kind of pushes him towards this idea that, like, you're unhappy because of your relationship with your daughter. That's what it is, isn't it, Roy? And, you know, he's obviously reluctant, which he might be, even if that was the actual problem he's having. But I think it's kind of left a little bit open-ended, honestly, as to whether or not that's actually something that's on Roy's mind. You know, like, I don't know if he actually was that conflicted by involving her, because he obviously enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And he seemed pretty, I think, you know, I guess like satisfied in the way that he handled it with having her give the money back. I didn't think before he talked to his therapist, right, at that point, that he had any outstanding kind of like guilt or, I don't know, like doubt about what he had done.
Yeah.
I even think when he spoke to his therapist in the scene afterwards, he was kind of like hyped about it. Like he kind of felt like this was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think he, like, it's also pretty clear that he realizes that, like, his neurosis in that same scene, like, I think the reason he seems so hyped about it is he's also, like, kind of accepting that, like, she is the cure for that, you know, and, like, having her around is, which comes back later. But yeah, so plot-wise, they try to con this guy. He lets her like distract him, in the middle of the con, and they think it all goes well. They got the money and they start to leave the airport. But as they're leaving, he like shows up out of nowhere, starts like chasing them in their car, and so Roy and Angela try to escape, and they eventually do. It's a very tense scene, very well done, I think.
Fucking terrifying scene.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite in the movie, because it hits you out of nowhere too, and that's where like the movie kind of starts to shift, as we'll get into. But it's like I remember like it was like a visceral feeling for me when that happens, and everything starts to kind of just go to shit seemingly.
Yeah, I mean, even like during the deal itself, like I remember just being like, wow, like I'm so nervous, like tension is done really well in this movie. And but yeah, so they escape, meets it with Sam Rockwell, and they, Sam Rockwell's like, she'd been in jail before because they probably got pictures, and he's like, no, of course not. He's like, are you sure? You should check. And he asks her, and he finds out that she was like booked like a year earlier. So he gets pretty mad, and he says, I gotta stop talking to you. You gotta go back to your mom's. So that happens, and then his phobias and stuff starts to come back, and because she's gone, and he also, that very crazy scene where he doesn't have any more medicine, and he goes to the pharmacy, tries to get more, and then he finds out. I don't know if anyone remembers the line that he says to that one guy about the sidewalk, but it's a pretty good line. I don't remember the exact line, but
yeah, he tries to cut in line, and then the guy's like, "Have you heard of a line before?" And then Nick Cage is like, in a very crazed way that I don't even remember exactly how he does it. It is played, I think, primarily on the fact that he's like stuttering as part of his, I guess it's Tourette's. I will say separately, I feel like the Tourette's thing makes sense, but I also feel like they were definitely at the beginning of the film going for like OCD, right?
yeah.
Which
I think it's
isn't that
both.
important, but I think I'll bring this up later. But anyways, yeah, he basically is like, have you ever been kicked on the sidewalk until you, and then it builds up to pissed blood, but he like screams it.
Yeah.
But they
In
kind of
the
like
middle
leave
of
you
a
hanging on the
fucking
punchline with him stuttering. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's a good like public breakdown moment. There's a lot of people, he just looks classic like Nick Cage meme. He just looks fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
it's good.
he finds out that the medicine that the therapist gave him was actually just like a vitamin, right? Just placebo. Like
It was like specifically like menopause
yeah, true.
medicine.
Which I want to
supplement.
say,
Not even medicine, just
is
like
that
supplement.
implied that it could be affecting him psychologically or mood wise? Because I kind of took it as like maybe this is making him more unstable.
Yeah, because Sam Rockwell asked multiple times, like, have you taken your medicine? Like
Yeah,
after
they want him to be
they
taking
want
it.
him to be taking it. I didn't think about that.
Or at least they want him to be controlled in the sense of like
He feels like he has to take it. Yeah, that's
True.
true.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I also this is just a small thing, but I really like the scene where he abandons her. I mean, he's like, we can't see each other. You have to. He's like, because something throughout the whole movie as well, like his relationship with his daughter. He's like obviously trying very hard, but like one because of like his like definite like anxiety and different things, but just because he hasn't been a parent, and he keeps talking to his therapist about like, I don't know how to be a dad. He doesn't know how to speak to her. So I feel like a lot of their conversations like just like loop in such like weird ways. Like he's repeating himself, or like with that specific conversation, he's like very blunt about how he's like I can never see you again. And then gets like not like mean. I wish I remembered exactly what he says, but he's just like to like a child who we think is a child at the time is like, don't cry, and it's just like just get out of the car, get out of the car. And he's like, again, it's where it's like it's that weird line of like, well, like the context of the scene is not funny, but again, like how he's delivering it, and I think intentionally
It's
how
absurd.
it's written. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like he goes from like not like caring about her deeply to like the second she like possibly like fucks up something for him, he's like, and isn't and important, like he feels that she isn't good at being a con man anymore. He noticeably is like, I don't really give a shit about you. Get out of my car. Stop crying. And the gift shop, which also comes back up, she's like, I got this for you, and it's just like a stupid little like trinket.
I think
And she's
visually,
like, I bought it at the gift shop.
it's so funny. It's like a dog, like an angel puppy,
Yeah.
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 and like it almost looks like an ashtray. I don't know what it is. It's just like
I
Yeah.
think it is, yeah.
the shot that they get of it though, as he's
Yeah.
having this breakdown, is like the contrast is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Like, I feel like it's easy to like, because he's like, to kind of like victimize him in your head during the movie, because it's like, oh, he has all these problems mentally, and he's, you know, as we will find out, you know, he himself is getting conned, and, you know, all this stuff. But it's like, he is also a con man, and he is also like if these things were real, like you're saying, like he's acting like the Joker to his fucking daughter, right? If that was real, like, you know.
Well, I think another thing about the like aspect of the ending and like his character is like at that point he is on his medication,
Yeah.
right? He thinks, and I think it's like Casey was pointing out. It's interesting because like he does seemingly have this like development of his character with his daughter, but at that point in the car, it kind of all just goes out the window because he is like Nabil's saying, "I guess you know you're not that good at this." He's
Yeah.
having this like moment of realization, I guess, that it's a liability,
Yeah.
his work.
But then, you know, maybe also part of it is like just saying like the worst things to her to get her to leave, because he doesn't, you know, want her to either jeopardize him, or he just doesn't want her to get caught, whatever, you know, you want to interpret it as. But yeah. So that happens, and then he goes and talks to the therapist and kind of vents a little bit to him, and he kind of realizes again that like, no, like you know, I need her to like change who I am, to like give up my, you know, life of crime. I don't know. Is at this point the therapist reveals that he knows that he's a criminal?
So I
Yeah.
also he when he finds out that the medicine isn't actually medicine, he confronts the therapist directly about that, and I think that's when the therapist says, "Listen, I know you're a criminal. Like if you
Yeah.
were an antique dealer, you would
Yeah,
have noticed this." Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
And he
a funny
basically,
little-
this is another part where I'm like, in retrospect, it makes me question the. I mean, obvious. Well, we have to come back to for the ending, but part of it is like in that scene, the therapist tells him, like very directly, forcefully, like your neurosis is small time, Roy. Your actual problem is your insecurity about your relationship with your daughter. And Roy is kind of like, you know, taken aback, obviously, because he's just been fucking told that like this is all bullshit to a degree. But then he's like, oh, maybe you're right. But the thing is, like, I feel like the therapist, you know, is very like, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm a doctor, and I basically just tricked you. You've been taking this fake medicine, but I was right? Because it helped you. So you should listen to me. Like, this is definitely what you need to, like, feel guilty about.
Yeah.
to ultimately get him to do what he wants, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then he reconnects with her, and they, you know, we see this scene of them like going out to dinner, and they come back to his house, and the guy they were trying to con is there, you know, with a gun. He's got Sam Rockwell, who looks like, you know, pretty fucked up, and he's like, you know, telling him to give him his money and whatnot. And we know from throughout the movie that the place where he keeps his money is also where the gun is, and you know, Angela has seen the gun. So when he sends her to go get the money, she gets the gun, shoots him, the guy they were conning, and Nicolas Cage is, you know, tells Sam Rockwell to like take care of her and go, you know, take her away, and that he would try to clean this up. And before he can do anything, he gets knocked out by the his name Chuck. So yeah, he gets knocked out, and then he wakes up in a hospital. The police are there, and they tell him that the guy's dead, and Sam Rockwell and Angela are gone, and they want to know, they have reason to believe that she is like responsible for this guy dying, and they want information. And Roy is like, I'm not going to tell you anything until I can talk to my therapist. And so he comes in later on, and Roy tells him, that he needs his help to protect Angela, and he needs his help to, give Angela his money. So he gives him the password to his like safety deposit box, and
which has been brought up like multiple times throughout the movie, like planting the seeds of like, oh, he has the safety deposit box where he keeps money. That he's a much older con man, so he's been doing it for a while. He has a lot of money saved up in this box that he'll use for different cons and stuff if he needs a bigger sum of money.
Yeah. So then later he wakes up, and then things are kind of disheveled. The AC isn't running. The room looks messed up, and there's no one around. And he investigates and realizes that he's not actually in a hospital. He's in a like container on the roof of a building. And he investigates his therapist's office. It's all empty. His money is gone from the safe deposit box, and he finds a letter in the safe deposit box where Sam Rockwell, reveals that he's just been conned. You've just been conned, Morty. And so we're revealed that his daughter, is just an actor, whatever you want to call her, and it was all just long con. And so he goes to his ex-wife's house and learns that his child was never born. It was a miscarriage. And and then we cut to a year later, where
let's talk about it.
Yeah, true. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about GMM.
Yes.
Any GMM fans out there? Any listeners?
Today we're gonna find out who has the best chicken fingers. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Who does have the best chicken finger?
We can't do this, right?
We can't do this.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we could just give.
All right.
We could just give our answers. We just like.
Darian.
You're gonna have to. Somebody's gonna have to go first. I gotta think first.
I'll just say.
Gyros is my answer. Seafood and gyros. I'm claiming it.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
We're talking about good, like taste, like best taste. That's it. No cost of like
overall.
Oh, overall.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, you got Popeyes, you got...
If we're saying overall, I'm going to say Chick-fil-A because for our area, it's accessible. It is consistent,
The spice is so good.
From...
Chick-fil-A.
They don't make those anymore, bud.
I know they don't. It's sad.
I think they were kind of ass, actually.
Kill yourself.
They didn't have they don't have the signature breading pickled taste, It's just spice. It's like, okay.
That's a lie.
Okay, buddy. All right.
Reveal fades away.
Okay.
Okay, Morty.
Darian, what's your answer before we move on?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really feel that good about my answer, but here's the thing. I like Chick-fil-A. If we were just going off chicken, listen, I can't really justify this. I like Chick-fil-A. I like their chicken nuggets. I like their chicken sandwich. And I do like their chicken tenders. But I feel like Chick-fil-A's chicken tenders sometimes are not as like consistently good as they used to be. And for some reason, my brain is telling me I actually might like Zaxby's for chicken tenders specifically.
Little Mr. Beast fan over here.
So I'm not here to...
I'll censor that for you.
I think Zaxby's like low-key is not that good, but I think their chicken is like, that's like the good part. Specifically their chicken tenders. I think I like Popeyes, but I don't think their chicken tenders are the best. Listen, I get why someone might go to Popeyes a couple times and be like, yeah, this shit's pretty good. But I'm going to Popeyes a lot, and I like them. There's no shot they have the best chicken tenders, all right?
Agreed.
KFC is better.
KFC is highly underrated, okay?
Who's eating at KFC? Who's going down?
Classism involved. People don't like KFC because it has the K word in it. All right, Kentucky. Oh, it's for poor people.
I think
it's
white
for
people. I don't think
white
poor.
people.
Your head's at. We're gonna find out tomorrow
KFC, Andy Bashir.
for VP. All right,
I think he's kind of.
Dude,
he's kind of.
you guys think she's gonna pick
Kinda
Josh
I want
Shapiro
both,
though?
but-
We're fucked.
Nah,
She's
nah.
probably
Yeah.
going to. I think the whole conversation around it has been. There is a conversation, but it's totally just been Josh Shapiro the whole time. It's in Philadelphia. They're not gonna fucking
Who's the other guy they brought up recently?
Mark
Tim
Kelly.
Waltz.
Oh yeah, sure.
Tim Waltz. It's down to Tim Waltz and Shapiro now.
Is the astronaut out?
Come on, Andy
Everyone thought the
Bashir was-
astronaut.
And for years, I love that man.
I'm with Hassan's original take. All right,
Yeah,
Andy Bashir's awesome.
yeah. Bashir al-Assad he makes. That's good.
Chicken-
Anyway,
Chicken.
chicken. Matchstick Men. What were we talking about?
The twist.
What's your favorite chicken?
The twist is.
Wait,
No,
hold on,
Casey
did
said
Casey give an
Casey said
answer?
seafood and gyros.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
if that was
yeah,
your final answer. I
Is
was
that
like,
your
you
final
should get
answer?
out of this?
That's probably my favorite, or KFC. Em,
Red Lobster.
Red
No.
lobster?
what are you talking about?
Oh my god. Hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
I think Popeyes is the goat.
Oh yeah, Octavio's here. What's up, Octavio?
Oh, Octavio's here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Octavio's here. Octavio hasn't seen the movie we're talking about, but he's gonna lead the charge on the next movie. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's true.
All right. Let's wrap this up though. So the twist. This.
This is what he was saying at the end of
Jeff was in the movie.
that
Jeff
was
is
him
in
at-
the movie.
So the twist.
okay, the twist. Let's talk about that. Any GMM fans? So I wanted to say, I think even if Evan isn't here anymore to give his annoying take about, oh, the twist was predictable. I predicted it 20 minutes in. I don't give a shit.
I did not predict it.
I
That's what's
feel
beautiful
like
about it.
everyone.
I'm the
except
only
for
one.
Nabil-
I'm the only one who.
Yeah.
I didn't want to believe it. I think I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I wanted to believe it. I like the wholesomeness. You know, I thought you guys were reaching,
And I think that's
but I think if I was being
that's what
realistic, you're probably
about
right. Like I would have realized it.
But I think that is what works about it, though. Is like and why it's so effective is because it makes you want to root for somebody. You feel like things are going well, and when they start to go wrong, you actually feel, because you've developed that kind of connection or like want to see, it feels like, oh shit, I actually care that this is like happening to him, and that's why I feel like that scene like in the hospital is so like well done. It feels like there's so much tension there. You're like, it's crazy that his therapist is gonna like help him get this money to his daughter, and like what's gonna happen, and then they just rip it right out from under you. And not to like, I know you said, Nabil, that, and I'm sure you'll talk about it a little bit more, that you were like, I was kind of disappointed with the ending in some ways, but I think that was intentional, because they're ripping all that away from you, and it's not necessarily like a good feeling, but like it makes you feel something, and it is like impactful. It is a big like tonal shift, definitely at the end of the movie, but I do feel like they do the twist well. There are little hints of it that you can see coming, but ultimately when it happens, I think it hits you. And I think that shot as a whole, and that whole sequence from him, like, you know, telling his therapist like the passcode, to like the cops like listening in and like listening to like the beeping on the machine, and he's like covering his mouth. I thought that was all done so well. Again, makes you feel like it's really like there's like big like there's like an intent and a purpose there. But then when he comes out, you get to see Nick Cage's bare ass on the rooftop. Perfect, you know. We're waiting for the Age of Cage. We haven't had a sex scene yet. We haven't had a full nudity
What's
scene.
your
We're waiting for it. Nabil was searching earlier in the GIF search bar. He was searching Nick Cage penis.
Because you guys started it. You were sending masturbation.
Oh yeah, we
gifs.
started it. Anyway,
Because Octavio said,
um,
because we heard that Octavio, you were gonna go do your laundry, and we were like, oh,
we all know what laundry
do
is.
your laundry. So we were like, oh,
Do
he's
your
jacking off. But were you doing laundry?
And then Nabil thinking about jacking off was like, I need to see Nick's.
Are you here, Octavio?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
yeah.
eating chocolate.
You're eating chocolate?
Yeah, the Dove caramel filled ones, like the Dove chocolates.
Hey, beautiful boy, stroke for me for 10
So
seconds.
how do we get here? Oh, Nicolas Cage, Barras. Yeah.
Yes, and then I was going to say that following sequence in which he's like going from place to place with the voiceover. I feel like the voiceover is done very well of the letter reading. It starts like he's finding different pieces of the letter, I think mentioned. So he'll find like one part of the letter at this one place, then he finds another, and it keeps like the voiceover flowing throughout. And then yeah, I loved like the feeling in that scene. I thought it was really great. The score also, Hans Zimmer.
Oh God, are we
I'm a
gonna glaze Hans Zimmer
I'm a
now?
Hans Glazer. I'm a Hans Glazer,
He didn't even make.
if you will.
He didn't. We watched. Darian and I watched a video. Okay, he's rip off. He's a hack. Okay, he's a hack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty. That video is pretty damning. It shows all of Hans Zimmer's scores next to each other, and then you realize that they're just like the
That
same
he just
motif
takes the credit from like
over
the
and
assistant,
over.
like even the Pirates of the Caribbean one. It was just some other guy, and he
Well,
just
yeah, that's the worst part. He
Yeah.
took it from someone else and then just reused
and then reused
for
it
every
5
fucking
times.
movie
Yeah,
that he's ever been
Oh.
praised for.
I will say.
Well,
I mean, like jokes aside, I
It
think
feels-
this is the most
feels-
like original I felt like I've heard his score. Like
Oh yeah, dude, the Matrix computer tier, like he
I meant
gets out of
more-
the hospital, it's like,
well, not that.
It's
I
like,
meant like for the
shit.
earlier part of the movie where he was just like where it was more like zany, like bumbling, like that kind of score. I thought
Yeah.
it was okay.
I think it's just the main themes where he kind of phones it in.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just his signature at this point. It has that sound, so people want him to make it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like personally the ending was disappointing to me because not just because like I was expecting something else. Like I don't think it's bad that like my expectations were subverted. That's not what I'm saying. I just feel like it didn't feel necessarily 100% earned. Like we're supposed to believe that like Sam Rockwell, it's like like in the letter he's like, oh, I finally got you. You taught me everything you knew. Thanks, buddy. Like I don't really buy their relationship. Like we get little hints of it, but there needs to be more of it. I feel like like
I agree with that. I think that they could have shown you more of their friendship throughout the
Yeah.
movie. But I guess, see, I'm conflicted because when I first saw the ending, I had this thing where I was like convinced that there was going to be a twist because somebody mentioned, I think Evan, early on, and I was like, wait a minute, I can kind of see it. This is weird. And this is why I like it, is like Nabil wasn't sold on it. Evan was definitely sold on it. But then Evan was questioning himself. And then I started questioning myself, and I was like, dude, maybe I'm just fucking crazy. But then it happens, and you're like, holy shit, I'm not crazy. Then I take a step back, and I'm like, I don't know if it's fully earned, but I think having you guys talk through the plot again, I will agree with you on the relationship with Sam Rockwell's character feeling underdeveloped, but I think other parts of it feel more earned in reflection than they did when it first ended. Like outside of it being like, holy shit, it was actually a scam and I'm laughing my ass off. If I think back, like there's a lot of attention to detail. Maybe it would be worth rewatching the movie. I don't know. But like there's a lot of small things where like when his daughter's like, he thinks, she's sneaking in and it's like, he's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? And she's like, dude, I'm just trying to, like, I'm just a kid. I didn't do anything bad. And he's like, yeah, but why would you be sneaking in then? And it's like, she basically gaslights him into feeling like an asshole. He like, when they're setting up the scam on this guy at the airport, he goes out of his way to be like, I'd feel a lot better if I was sitting on this side. So that the guy was facing away from the bar. Sam Rockwell's character, in hindsight, intentionally fucks that up to make Nick Cage more uneasy. And I think a lot of things like that, another one that I wasn't really sure about in the moment, but I think after they revealed it was intentional, is he gets out of the car to talk to Sam Rockwell after they've been chased out of the airport. And he's like very flustered. And he leaves his daughter in the car. He puts on the radio. I don't know what he puts on, but it's something like pretty like fucking like
Beastie
oldies
Boys.
here. Okay.
Oh, she changed it.
Yeah, so as he's talking to Sam Rockwell's character, "Oh, do you think she's been arrested?" Nick Cage is like, "What the like, no, obviously she hasn't." Sam Rockwell like glances at her. They make eye contact. She changes the radio, turns it up, and I think that was on purpose because it's like, "Oh, do you really know your daughter? Like, she's listening to like this like rowdy, rambunctious, loud music. She actually has been arrested." And I think also, the thing with the therapist where he's been kind of led down this path to think that his relationship with his daughter is the crux of his problems. When I would, for example, propose maybe the crux of his problem is like owning that he is like proud to be a con artist. Because I think a lot of the movie, he doesn't want to admit that. And it's like, oh, you don't want to admit it to your daughter. But I don't think he wants to admit that to any. He really is holding on to this idea of like, I didn't take anything. I convinced people to give it to me, And
Mhm.
I guess my point is, I think in retrospect, it's like they really have been like master class gaslighting Roy on like a shit ton of different levels to the point where it's like by the end of the movie, I did feel like in retrospect it was earned in the sense that like they actually could have done this and tricked him and fucked with his mind enough to like throw him off. It felt a little bit like we're going into a different universe when Sam Rockwell's character is giving like this like charismatic like monologue of like, I never wanted to have to replace you, and I guess I won't have to. I'm like, okay, this feels a little bit less grounded, but it's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
It's
It
a
was
little
kind of
tidbit of like what Nabil's talking about is like, okay, they're implying more of a relationship. I wish we could have seen that. But also, I guess it makes sense that you wouldn't because the timeline of the movie is like Sam is conning him. So you don't really get to see what they were like before, I guess, right? And I also think that's another thing. The scene where they meet up to discuss this, kind of climactic con, and Sam Rockwell's character's like being like kind of flagrant, and Nick Cage is like, dude, like you need to fucking chill out. Like you look like suspicious. You're gonna, draw attention to us. I kind of in retrospect am now interpreting that as like he knew that Roy was always like more timid and like uptight, and he was kind of playing off of his anxiety to make this whole thing work. Right? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this definitely gives me more to think about. Maybe it is a
Yeah,
little
I
more
think the big
thought out.
takeaway is like it kind of just went over your head, Nabil. You didn't get it. Like you didn't understand like
Have
what
you ever
happened.
seen Peaky Blinders?
I have not seen Peaky Blinders. I've heard of it. And I always ask myself the question, like, why is Oppenheimer so mad? And why is he wearing that little hat? Like, but I don't know. I guess I'll have to check it out one day.
Yeah.
I
Guess
can,
we'll never know.
yeah. So, is there anything else we want to say? Or should we get to the ratings?
Well, I think we
Yeah.
should go to the ending though. Because
Okay.
he goes to the carpet store a year later.
Oh,
he's
true.
working
Yeah,
there.
true. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 year later, he's working at a carpet store, and a guy comes through, fucking stoner, loser, trash, right? Who is this guy? Like, he's like, wants to buy carpet, and then his girlfriend comes in, and it's her. It's Angela. It's his
Angela.
daughter, and they kind of recognize each other in the moment, and then the guy steps away, and they have a conversation where he's just like, I don't know, like I don't remember exactly what he says, but does anyone comment on this?
They get the guy to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, thanks for not saying anything.
Yeah. And then M just said, but basically he's like asking her if she's also like, and she's like, no, we like they have an actual relationship.
Yeah, she did.
She got fucked over by Sam Rockwell's character.
She retired. I think she says like, oh, I'm retired.
Like,
Yeah.
It was a one-time gig, and I think that like hits him in a certain way where he's just like, because like before that moment, he's not like, he doesn't say anything, but he is like he's a little like feisty, but that kind of like simmers him down, and they start talking a little bit more, and they basically like allude to through dialogue and through kind of just how they're like looking at each other and the overall feel of the scene that like again, there is like, and this is what I was talking about earlier, is like, it's kind of weird because like,
There's still a genuine.
yeah, there's still something there. And it's like, whether you want to think about it as like a father-daughter relationship or like a friendship of sorts.
He said he'll be right back.
It's not even midnight yet. We still have 2 more movies to talk about. No, we said all 4. You watched all of that last one.
Yes, I did. I was there for the
Do you
last one.
remember the last thing? M fell asleep during Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I'm sorry to say.
I fell
Do you
asleep
remember?
during National Treasure too. How did that end?
You didn't watch the end of it?
No, I
You
fell
just fell
asleep. I woke
Oh,
up like it was
Oh.
over. I think you were gone, and then I said
Oh,
something,
okay.
and Bill was like, "Oh, you're still here," and I was like, "Dude,
It
get the
sucked.
fuck
Listen
out."
to the podcast. It's dog shit.
I don't even
hate
know
it.
where I fell asleep. Actually,
It's
I
okay.
don't
The
remember what
movie.
was happening. I know they
I
kidnapped
barely
the president.
remember.
I saw that.
Okay, they kidnapped the president. His book of secrets.
Yeah,
Did you get them going to Mount Rushmore?
yeah, and then they pour the
Okay.
water. It's like,
Yes. They pour the water. They basically do like Nabil made the joke, Mr. Beast in a cave, because they're like, there are 4 people on this teeter-tottering rock.
oh, I saw that. I saw that.
Okay.
I remember that.
Then
Maybe
like
I
the
did
city floods. The city floods. Do you remember that? They
No.
find the city of gold. It floods.
Oh wait. I do remember them finding the city of gold. I don't remember it
Okay.
flooding. That must have been where I
Yeah.
was.
So that's like the final part is it floods and then like the guy threatens them and he's like there's a thing they have to spin to like keep this door open to get out. And he's like, I'm going out first. And then he doesn't go out first. It makes no sense. He doesn't even try to actually go out first. And then it's just suddenly, no, actually, I'm going to sacrifice myself.
The bad guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they like credit him. And then it ends with them hinting towards the sequel. Where like the president is finally, even though he could have said this like 5 days ago, is finally like, yeah, it was an accident. Nick Cage didn't actually, BFG didn't actually kidnap me. I just left it. The door shut on accident. And then he's like, by the way, did you get a look at what was on page 47? And he's just like, yes. And that's supposed to be hinting to the 3rd, which they're talking about still doing, which,
Holy shit.
God, I hope not.
Does Nick Cage end up getting back together with his love interest?
Kind of, like, it's like, yeah, basically, you know.
Because I remember there was like some point where it was like clear that they were trying to like really like overlay this theme of like your parents are divorced, but they shouldn't be because if they talked to each other,
Mm-hmm.
divorce is stupid. That's like the vibe. I was
Yeah.
like, getting this weird thing where it was like, you should just like realize that there's no interpersonal conflict in your relationship and
Yeah.
just say sorry, which I thought was kind of stupid
mean,
compared to the
Yeah,
first
if
movie.
you want any reason for why do we even know really why they broke up? I don't even remember.
Because Nick Cage doesn't ask her what she wants, he just assumes. But then the
Yeah.
movie leads you to believe that he's not assuming incorrectly.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I'd still like you to ask. And then it basically just seems like the whole conflict in their relationship is like they've never spoken once about what's bothering
literally.
them.
Yes, they don't talk to each other in either of the movies. They don't talk about anything. He's just like, my bitch wife in the second one. And the first one, it's just like, this bitch won't shut up. This
Shut
bitch.
up, you.
It's like that rock clip. Shut up, bitch. Classic. Thoughts on white chocolate Reese's? Do we like these? You ever had one? Holy shit! Holy shit! I did see the snap. So good.
What is this marketing? It's kind of weird.
Almost up.
Cheat on Reese's with white. What? No, I think they're white
They're going
chocolate
up.
alone. I'm a fan of, but I think specifically white chocolate Reese's.
Something about it is
Yeah.
so good. I don't even know. I mean, it's not even chocolate.
Yeah. Sugar.
Yeah, vegetable oil. Corn syrup. Octavio's gone too.
This goes.
What the fuck is that?
The COVID-19 water.
The
You have
COVID-19 walk.
COVID-19 water?
No, it's
The
pure
walk?
COVID-19.
Yeah, it's
It's not
even
water.
It's crazy.
They call that
What
the
is
Giga
that?
vaccine. Holy
Oh.
shit.
It also has nicotine
That's awesome.
Shit.
water. Warnings for nicotine.
Holy fuck, dude.
This is from I like taped it onto this model because I thought it'd be funny, but then I never actually used it for a joke because I didn't want to derail the cast.
These done that.
Hello.
Yeah,
What's
it's
up,
pretty good.
Nabilio?
Yeah. What did I miss?
We just
Oh.
paused.
Okay, but like, where were we pause? Like, what were we talking about?
Nabil, what do you think about this?
What? Don't drink that, bro.
You want to know the craziest part?
No.
No!
Dude, you do a prank where you like fill it up and then just start like try to offer it to people. You know?
Yeah, like, have you seen that guy that goes with the cans of like?
No.
He has like these cans, literally like I think manufactured. I mean, you can buy them as like merch. But he goes around, he has like glasses camera, and he goes up to people and he'll just like say like random shit to them, and then he'll be like, "Want to try some of this?" And then it'll be like the can is just like something ridiculous, but it's like fully like legit looking. You know, it's an actual aluminum can.
A can of this new vape I have.
The classic, I think, is like when he's like,
I got proof by the
"It's for finches, but humans can drink it too." And then it's like they're like actual like real people. You can tell because they're normally like, "What?" And then he just says it over and over again, and they're like, "No thanks, dude."
That's pretty good.
His content recently, I don't know if you've seen it, Casey, has evolved to he'll go to an Applebee's or a Chili's, and I guess he's like a regular there, and he'll tip
Mhm.
them like a shit ton of money at the end. So it's like
Yeah.
not bad of him, but he'll have them make like these ridiculous fucking dishes. Like one of them was he like ordered like a
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
milkshake.
Yeah.
And then like he'll get the person
They
next
do
to
it?
them and they'll be like, "What are you having?" And he's like, "This is," and it's like fucking like T-bone like Sunday. Like
Yeah, this is the
fucking
guy who just
steak
goes
with ice
around like
cream.
just explicitly tries to make people like uncomfortable, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
that's insane. That's the most out of pocket shit ever.
with Tally.
No.
All right, should we start back up or
Okay.
what about M?
We were talking. M has gone to bed.
Dang.
Sorry to everybody. Say bye to. Bye.
Bro, we didn't even get M's ratings of the movies to include in the list. Because we'll have to include
Well,
it
I'll
in
get
the post.
Unnaturally.
2.5. 3.
Over.
Alright.
Okay.
Hang
So
tight,
what we were
Octavia. We're
talking-
almost there.
Ow.
What were we talking about?
It jumps ahead, yeah. And they're in the carpet store.
Yes, and we were talking about how they do have this genuine connection, and that's made clear through this conversation. I can't remember the exact dialogue, but they're seemingly like not, I wouldn't say reminiscing, but at least like fondly like having a moment with each other in which they're able to like. Sorry, 1 second.
Ask about the ratings.
Tin foil.
I'm on Team
Um,
Foil.
So they're like fondly remembering like that time they had together, and also that like I feel like he is not able, like, kind of going back to what we were talking about before. He realized that he got conned, and that's what his life was. And she just did it, and Sam Rockwell's character just did it better than him. And I think in the next part also where it shows that he goes home and has a wife now and he's very happy with his life, and he also noticeably does not have any of the issues of like see, and this is where it kind of gets weird about like, well, like how does he not have like certain neurodivergent stuff that he was dealing with previously, like it just kind of solved all of that seemingly.
Okay.
Final thoughts, I would say, is I really liked this movie, and I think it's one to rewatch. I also like one, I will say, for the comedy episode, I think it is like I think we delved into a lot like different things, and we can't, we watched it however long, so we can't remember all the good like oh, this one bit, this one thing. But I think it's really enjoyable watch. I had so much fun watching it. And I think a big part of that is the comedy in it that really keeps it moving forward. And yeah, I also think there are though, like, and I feel like we don't need to get into this right now, but we got 2 more movies to get into. But I also do think there are like a lot of like deeper themes that are being touched on, especially in that. I guess one thing that's kind of important to mention is that like this one is based off of a book, so like the story kind of plays out in a way that I feel is very similar to how it would kind of play out. And I think I didn't know that until after we watched the movie and I looked it up. But it helped makes maybe some of like the decisions for storytelling make a little more sense for me personally. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to mention for ratings.
Yeah, I agree. So with that, and I don't know, I struggle with the system of 5 stars. You know, I don't know why. I don't know if I'm being whatever neurodivergent, whatever what you want to say, but something about the 5 stars perturbs me. So like, for example, like I rated this, or when we first watched it, 2.5 on Letterboxd, which sounds bad, but I'm like,
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
is it though?
Okay, sorry.
Is it though? Because like, then I'm like, I should bump it up to a 3, but then I'm like, 3 is only 2 points away from 5. I'm not.
But just think about it out of 10, Nabil. Just think about it out of 10.
That makes me even more confused, because then I'm like, oh, I don't want to. That 5 out of 10 does sound bad, right? Like,
Yeah.
to your point. But then I'm like, that means I've been rating movies before I thought you like. It's like I have hundreds of movies, you know, that I, you know, rated either more harshly or less harshly on that scale. You know, it's because, you know, in my mind I'm like, okay, well, you know, 3 stars is like a pretty good movie. You know, 4 stars is a really good movie, and 5 stars is a masterpiece. You know, I'm like, on that scale, I don't know if I think this is like pretty good. I think it's good, so I'm like 2.5. You know, I feel like I sound insane, but like, I
Whatever
don't.
rating you want. I said whatever rating you want to give it.
Well, no, I just
get
want
what you're
to. My
saying.
point is like, I'm still thinking of how to scale it. So, what is your rating for the movie?
This is a 4-star movie. I thought the acting was great. I think the script is especially very good. It's very fast. It keeps your attention. I felt very in the world and very drawn in. I also just feel like the filmmaking, it was great. The directing was great. A lot of the shots I loved. Something I want to mention also is like, now I'm just thinking more shit, but we don't need to keep going on it. The color grading in the movie is really really special, and I feel like adds vibe of the film.
It really nails the nauseating aspect of Los Angeles.
Yes, yeah, it's very like Mulholland Drive, where good, and yeah, 4 stars. It's my number. Well, no, it is my number 3 Age of Cage movie so far. So I guess it's not like, but it's still Dream Scenario, Long Legs, Matchstick. But
yeah,
it's up there.
So because you gave Long Legs a 4, you're saying this is as good as Long Legs to you?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
I really do think so.
Fair enough.
I really enjoyed this.
So you gave it a 4. Evan put in his score as a 2.
Well, the movie is good. Like, whatever. 2 out of 5.
Yes.
That is the same rating people are giving National Treasure Book of Secrets. How is that? This is maybe the rating system is fucked.
I think it is. What if we did out of 100? You know, we do a percentage. You know, I think that would be a tier. Yeah. Anyway, Darian, do you want to give it a score out of 5?
I think I'd go like out of 5. I'd probably go like 3.5.
Okay. 3.5 out of 5. All right.
Give it a
Octavio?
3.
You didn't see the movie. You can't rate it.
I can't rate what I saw.
Do you watch 5 minutes of it?
No, I watched like half an hour.
So out of
Like
what you
around
saw, you
20.
give it a 3.
Yeah.
I thought you watched half an hour of Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This
Yeah,
one.
that one. The one from
That's
last
not the
night.
movie we're talking about.
Oh, we're talking about Matchstick Men.
Oh, I'll give that one a 5.
You weren't there, right? To be clear, I don't remember.
Octavio was not there at
Okay.
all.
I'm really conflicted, but I'm gonna say 3. I'm gonna say 3 out of 5. Okay, you convinced me to
6 out
think
of
it through. So,
Yeah, because I don't even want to get the list right now and see what you rate National Treasure. Because
I
was it
mean, I
National
already told you.
Treasure
We
a
said it on the
2.5?
podcast. I gave National Treasure a 2.5.
You would think that's just I don't know. Again, whatever. This is not to make you change your.
I'm not going to change my rating for National Treasure.
Do you think National Treasure is the same quality of movie as this movie?
No,
If
that's
you're
why I gave it a
asking me about
2.5.
Okay, and you gave this a 3.
Yeah, because I think it's a little bit. I think
Okay.
even though the filmmaking is like well above National Treasure, I personally wasn't really attached to the twist and the kick of the movie, and I think the nature of this movie is the kick. I don't know. I keep saying kick, the plot twist, whatever, and that didn't fully deliver for me. So it evens out to a 3. Does that make sense? Like, if
Okay.
if the
Okay.
twist had sold me a little more, I think this would be easily a 3.5 minimum. But it didn't sell me all the way.
Get you.
Now maybe in a future watch it will. I want to rewatch this movie in the future, you know. So we'll see.
Revisited. Redux.
So yeah. So that was Matchstick Men, and we'll get M's rating when you send that to me, and then we'll average it out and put it on the list. Check the description for the letterbox link. But Octavio, it's finally your time to shine. All right, quit CS:GO, quit Overwatch, get in here. Bud.
I'm not.
We didn't get Slaughter Beach Cat's rating.
Oh yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu. What was your rating? Meow, Jimin. Meow. Iran is the threat to the peace of the Middle East. Meow. We just got demonetized for that.
We were making money before. Sure.
We were making 10 cents before. All right, Octavio, Sorcerer's Apprentice. I mean, this is really, like I said, I really want to give you free reign here because, for years you've been talking about how great this movie is, and I don't know what do you want to jump into the plot, or like what do you want to do here?
All right. So, what's the kid's name again?
That's actually a good question.
No, actually, it's
Dave.
I don't know.
Dave. Yeah,
Dave.
true, Dave. Yeah.
Fucking
So-
Dave.
Dave is trying to figure out if this girl likes him or not. It's Holly Hills, the actress at least.
We're already skipping important things.
What?
I'm
important
sorry.
thing? What?
The exposition done. The exposition done.
Giant fucking exposition
Oh,
at the beginning.
dear.
You can explain this
The
when he
entire
runs into-
premise of the
I think he was approaching it from a different chronological order.
Yeah, I was gonna be like. So then the note flies by the wind by coincidence, and he goes into a random shop where there's this guy who turns out he's just like a magician or whatever, and the kid doesn't know, and he's like one of Merlin's 3 apprentices or whatever, and he's like protecting the world from this evil witch Morgana and trying to find something called the Prime. What was it? Millennium.
Prime Meridian.
Merlinian, yeah.
PM.
Prime Meridian. And so, because and he had been looking for 1,000 years trying to find different people, and then this kid just walks into a shop. He pretty much says, "Fuck it, why not?" Hands him the ring to see if it works, and it does. So he's found it. The kid's a dumbass, so then he starts moving the ring, and this like little, what are they called? Like Russian something dolls.
Nesting.
Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah, it was like a Russian nesting doll where he had like the wizard had kept, or I guess like
Imprisoned.
yeah, people, really bad people, and they're wizards. And at the very bottom there was Morgana, the worst one of them all, like leading this plan to like take over the world. And then how into detail should I go? Should I be like,
I mean,
the guy breaks out, gets into a fight with Nick Cage. They both end up getting sucked into a vase,
mhm.
and the kid looks like he pissed himself. Everyone laughs at him, and the girl's like, "Yeah, this kid's a dumbass." And you never see what it said on the note. And I don't know, kind of seems like he became a Morty because of that. And he's like, and they call like pulling a Dave when you like piss yourself or whatever.
Pulling a Dave Stutler.
Yeah.
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 No, that's a good start. I guess if there's anything we missed there, we should, like, that we want to talk about in detail. obviously, like we said, there is an exposition dump at the beginning. Like, you know, of course, it's John Turtletop, so you know he can't help himself, right? Fucking
It is John Turtletop.
fuck John Turtletop. bro.
Classic fucking John Turtletop. I mean, I think that is a good place to start. Is like how some.
You cut out, but I believe you said how similar this is to National Treasure.
Yes, how similar this is to National in like the idea of like this ancient history, like connecting with modern, and like I'd say the structure of the movie is very similar to that exposition. And then Nick Cage, obviously, big crossover. It's like a big like coming together moment. They won't let us, you know, talk about. They won't let us talk about the President's Secret Book and what's on page 47.
Mm-hmm.
But we can make this Sorcerer's Apprentice movie instead. But it does feel like a. Am I wrong that it kind of feels like a spiritual successor? Some. I mean,
I feel like it's. I don't know if it has anything to do with John Turtletop as a director, but at least the writing wise, it feels like a step up in some ways.
I would say that.
At least when it comes to like the set pieces and the action, you know, I'd say my favorite piece in the movie. That I mean, I guess we'll get to it, but like when they're in the Chinese parade.
What is it? Chinese New Year?
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know.
it's Chinese, but you know, I guess in some ways it is. It definitely you can tell it's you know there's a similar. You can smell Turtletop all over this. You know, you can
sniff him out.
In some ways, it is Chinese New Year.
Oh right, but so Merlin, you know, he had these three apprentices, you know, Nicolas Cage, the hot chick, and
Merlin.
Dr. Octopus. And
What? No, that's not his name.
do you know his name?
No, but I know it's not Doc Ock.
Okay, so I can call him Doc Ock till we figure out his name.
It's probably like Burgess or something, dude.
Burgess.
Havrath or
Horvath.
Havarti.
Maxim Horvath.
There you go. Sigma Horvath, perhaps. But yeah, so he has they were the apprentices, and then but Horvath betrayed Merlin. He teamed up with Morgana, the evil sorcerer, and she kills Merlin.
Sorceress.
A sorceress, yeah, and she gets like.
What's a non-binary sorcerer?
I mean,
Sorcerex?
if an actor is now
Sorcerex?
used to describe both actors and actresses, then maybe sorcerer can be both. You know,
What about magician? Magi?
Magi. Not even the Magi can save you now.
True. I think sorcerer is a profession, and then when it comes to the individuals, it's like different. You know what I mean?
Profession.
Because he says, "I am a sorcerer to the 707th degree," right? Like my point is, like, I don't think it necessarily has to be attached to a gender.
Yeah, I was mostly just doing like a bit.
I didn't really
The comedy
understand that.
episode. I mean, what can I say?
True, dude. I'll never forget Sophia Martinez when she told us that her favorite part of the podcast is comedy back in 2020. I'm not kidding. That's a real comment. It's real. I can pull up the DM, actually. I don't remember. But in the meantime, does anyone want to talk about where the plot goes from when the time jump 10 years later?
Someone else do this part. Or should I do it again?
Oh my god. I think you just got on camera. My cat bite me. God damn.
Your cat just
Sorry.
wants to play. It's in like hunting
No.
mode.
No.
Oh no.
No, this can't be. Okay, sorry. What were we talking about? That was a little scary.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Alright, we were talking about.
Sophia Martinez's DMs are gone. Just want to say they're not here anymore.
What happened?
I don't know. They disappeared.
Wow.
But she went in and deleted them
They
herself.
were there.
They were there. They were there. They were there. Maybe it's on my other
Was it in-
account. But
Was it
anyway,
on vanish mode?
was it in vanish mode? I don't think vanish mode existed in 2020, right?
But I think they just auto like put it on conversations.
That would be
Pretty sure.
lame.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry, we've gotten an update via text from the rating of Matchstick Men 3.5.
And do you have the other ratings just for later?
No,
Okay.
Yo,
they sent that
what's
to
your
me half an
wallpaper?
hour ago,
Oh.
and I think they're asleep now.
Okay. Well, maybe you should have asked it originally to like rate them all. But you know,
Maybe you should have thought about this.
and have a little foresight, foreskin.
What even is that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah, I don't
It wasn't a
I don't
joke.
believe that
It wasn't
Sophia likes the comedy. If that's the kind of comedy, all right.
I got it. I got the DM. Here we
Oh.
go. You guys want to hear it?
No.
Mhm.
April 23rd, 2020. Hey, I just listened to the Florida Project podcast. I wanted to say,
The comedy on the Florida.
and I thought it was very well done. Such a great movie, and the discussion you guys had around it was very thorough, spelled incorrectly, and inclusive of a lot of ideas and
Not have to
interpretations.
include that.
My only constructive criticism is that you guys are so funny, you should include it a little more, especially in the beginning, to attract the audience and introduce aspects of a more lighthearted tone. I think it would parallel the deeper discussion really well. But great job overall. Very enjoyable podcast.
It's a very nice thing.
I think I got the message.
No,
The audience, right?
anyway,
If you DM
I
Filmatic
just have
and
to
tell us
start
what
being
you think
unhinged.
about it, we will read your DM.
yeah, we'll read your
There as
DMs
well.
live. Yeah,
Mhm.
on the podcast. If you send a DM to Filmatic, not only will we read your DMs live on the podcast, but we'll call you live on the podcast to give you one of these posters signed by me and
What do they
addressed
have-
to you.
What do they have to DM? What do they have to do to get that?
You have to DM me your favorite Nicolas Cage movie, unless you haven't seen a
What
Nicolas
about-
Cage movie, in which case you can just DM me your favorite movie of the year.
Favorite John Turtle Top movie?
Yeah.
She turtle on my top till I.
That's supposed to be funny, but you're gonna shit on me for.
I thought that was pretty fun.
And
Yeah, I
if
know
you're
you-
chill, DM me Coney 2012.
Should we get back into the plot?
I
So
don't know.
Dave is a physics student at NYU, and he lives with his roommate, whose name might not even be mentioned, genuinely, but his roommate who, you know, he's like, why are you being like this, Dave? Why are you such a nerd? You gotta get out there. You gotta interact with women more. You gotta be a wolf. You know, and there's a little wolf on the fridge. And that happens. So, you know,
Wait, real quick.
yes.
I texted Jamie and he told me that the character's name is Bennett.
Okay, Bennett. Yeah, Bennett.
Bennett Zero.
He has a last
Is that
name.
him?
Okay.
Yeah,
Bennett Z-
Zurrow.
Don't we all?
Zero?
Zero.
Zero.
So,
I
meanwhile,
don't care.
the 10-year curse of the urn ends, and Horvath and Balthazar are released from the urn, and they kind of do a little chase. They chase each other a bit, and then Horvath realizes he needs to track down Dave to find the Grimhold, which was last seen when Dave threw it in the street when he was a kid. So he tracks down Dave and almost kills him, but he's saved by Nicolas Cage, who's riding an eagle gargoyle from the Empire State Building, or the Chrysler Building. And
A little detail I like is how he tries to kill him is the wolves that were mentioned before. He just turns them, he makes them real. And then he's getting chased like through and into the subway.
Nicolas Cage
Um,
turns them into puppies,
yes,
and then
it's
turns
very
them back
cute.
into pictures and removes the life from them. What do you think of that? It's kind of dark, right? Gives them life
Does
just to
he?
take it away. Yeah, he right before the train hits.
Who is
He
playing
turns
with a
them
bag
back
of
into-
shells right now, dude?
I missed that part.
It's really quick,
Yeah.
but he turns them into like pictures again, and then Dave gets on the eagle.
Mm.
But yeah, so Dave's like, "No, I can't do this, bro. Like, everyone makes fun of me for being Dave Stutler, pulling a Dave Stutler, like we were saying before. You know, I had therapy, and Nick Cage makes a deal that if he helps him, he'll leave him alone after. So they track it into the Chinatown. Like I said, great sequence, beautiful, where they fight another wizard, and who turns the puppet dragon into a real dragon, right? Pretty cool, like that. And Dave puts on the ring and is able to cast fire, and together they defeat this guy and retrieve the Grimhold. But at this point, Dave's he's like, yeah, I like this. actually, okay, I'll become your apprentice. And so he becomes his apprentice. And meanwhile, from all this, we have this subplot, not subplot, I guess, but whatever you want to call it, where he's stalking and being really creepy towards Becky, the girl from the beginning of the movie. Am I the only one who thought it was creepy, the way he was acting towards her?
It is
Literally the
weird.
Joker.
Right?
Riddler at best.
Riddler at best. Yeah, thank you. So that's also happening. And he keeps, like, cutting, his lessons with Nick Cage to try and pursue her. She works at a radio station. He, like, fixes it because he's a genius. It's also explained that sorcerers use 100% of their brains because normal people only use 10% of their brains,
This is a fact.
That's a fact. It's a real fact. So that's why physics comes so easy to him, is because he's a genius.
Yeah, I looked it up. That's real.
Yeah. And when he
Jamie,
yeah.
He's in the College of Winterhold right now.
And when he's listening to the radio, he hears One Republic's secrets. Right, and that gives him an idea for their date later, which we'll get to.
Tell me what you want from me.
You're just cutting out now, which is hilarious, but
Gonna give up
so
this time.
so now Alfred Molina is looking for this other Morganian, Drake Stone. Drake Stone. What do we think of Drake Stone? I thought he was pretty funny.
I heard he got canceled recently for like a
Boo.
It's kind of
Fake
woke of
news.
you.
Sounds like fake news to me.
But yeah,
Just
he's
trying
like
to
turned
like,
sorcery into like a entertainment. He's a celebrity, and they try to kill Dave together, but he gets saved, and more is revealed to Dave about Morgana being trapped in the Grimhold with Veronica, and how if she gets out, she wants to raise everybody from the dead and take over the world. That he has to stop her. And then at this point, Dave meets her for the date. He tries to clean the lab, and he has the Fantasia section, with all the mops, cleaning his lab.
Didn't even have the song.
It even had the song from Fantasia.
It is Disney.
It is Disney. And
This is a good point to mention. That's what this movie is like loosely based off of. The Fantasia scene or skit.
yeah, I guess they were just like, oh, what if we did that? What if that scene was a live action bit, and they just built the movie around it?
Yeah, and then like it's originally based off of a book or some shit. I don't know, but
I mean, most Disney properties are. I mean, what isn't, right?
what is it?
So he has a date with her where they do the secrets Tesla coil thing.
In your room behind you.
Yeah, right here.
Tell me
They're
what
doing
you want from me.
Nabil's actually in the room with them as they're doing it right now.
Yeah, this time is frozen. Okay, so this plot is so meandering, but I'll try to power through. So if they fight, can someone else do this? This sucks, man.
What do you mean?
I hate this.
Okay.
I don't like it. I will get to talking about it, but
Yo, That's what I'm
it's-
saying.
What do you mean? Okay. Well, I feel like we're also like missing things here and there, but
Yeah, because the plot is written by a monkey who works for Disney.
Hey,
okay. Whoa, you said you were talking earlier like the huge step up from fucking.
In some
now
ways,
you're
I
like,
said in some ways. Roll the tape.
top is
Roll
like
the tape. I
top.
said in some ways,
not very progressive
Oh.
of you, Nabil.
and I can only think of two actually off the top of my head. One would be the action,
That is,
which is a low bar for National Treasure overall, and the second would be like the set pieces / the like I guess not cinematography, but like yeah, sure, the CGI, yeah. That doesn't make like the plot. Fuck John Turteltaub and whoever wrote these fucking movies, dude. Because it's just like, oh, this guy's out from this urn. Oh, and this guy's out from a nesting doll, and they're gonna fight you. Okay, now go on a date with Becky. Okay, now this guy's out from a nesting doll, and he's gonna cast a spell that does this. Oh, now go on a date with Becky. And it's like that
Like
3 times.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man, but like for fucking
Babies.
babies.
it's for children. What is it? A children's movie?
Yeah, and yet you're still gonna be like, 4.5 out of 5.
Down.
Fuck you. And no, Fuck you and no.
And no, it's actually a 5 out of 5.
I was gonna say.
This is what a 2.5 actually is.
Yeah, I'm saying this is as bad to me as National Treasure. It even said.
Bro, this is fucking
Yeah, and
goated,
you would
bro.
have said equal to Matchstick Men until you changed your rating.
Separate but equal. Not all movies are just 2 movies. 2 movies can be 3 stars, let's say, and you can like things about them more or less, but they can both be 3-star movies.
But they can't if one of them is Sorcerer's Apprentice of fucking children's. Anyway, so this movie, basically where we're at now.
Yeah, where are we at now?
I'm sorry, do you want to take over?
Okay, I'll take
Where
over
we're at
again. All right,
now, you haven't even talked about him learning to be a fucking magician yet.
Because it's surrounded by this shit, dude. That's the best parts in the movie is like when he's learning, any scene where him and Nicolas Cage, gold, great dynamic. Nicolas Cage carries.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the scene that we spoofed at the beginning.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Whether he accepts to become the apprentice.
Yeah, there's some cool ass CGI. I honestly think the CGI in this movie, weirdly enough, holds up. Some of it looks pretty good for 2011, and yeah, I also think like the writing specifically between Dave and Balthazar is pretty good, pretty funny. The old man shoes into Nicolas Cage, like
Excuse me
line.
Yeah, it's great.
Is
Old
like
man.
classic Nick Cage.
Yeah,
like,
but this
the
is
facial
my
expressions
problem
there.
with the movie is they don't give him anything to work with. Like,
Yeah.
there's only little bites, little tastes of it. But like, where is it?
Mhm.
Where's my Nicolas Cage movie?
And I also think, you mentioned like the action. I think the fight sequences and specifically like the way they do magic in this movie is actually pretty cool.
No,
said
I
this
agree. I
while
think
we
you
were
could
watching.
argue that the action of magic in this movie is it has the potential to be better than like Harry Potter, like you were saying. Like,
Yeah.
because Harry Potter,
It's,
like you said, is like stupefy, right? Remember that Angry Joe video? Like,
You're looking at it wrong.
okay, go ahead. What?
It's not a Nick Cage. It's a Sorcerer's Apprentice, bro. It's a Dave Stutler movie. Bully McGuire.
Do you know in some?
It's like the Karate Kid.
It's like
Nick
the
Cage.
karate.
Nick Cage is like the fucking master. He's not the one going to the competition.
No,
the
it's.
one...
I
It's the
disagree.
sorcerer, it's not the
Exactly.
Oh my god!
Exactly.
But they don't even give him a chance to be a mentor, dude. He's just like.
What? He literally gives him the circle and starts teaching him.
What do you
That
not
is
understand?
true.
He gets in the circle.
He also gives him the shoes.
The
He
old
gives-
man shoes.
Gives him the old man shoes and says, "Excuse me."
Here's what I'm saying, man.
He helps
The
him get
ending.
laid.
I know I'm jumping ahead, but I think we can agree that this plot, by play by play of the plot, isn't going well. So I think it's fair to jump ahead at this point. And I'm just gonna say, at the end of the movie, when it's like Nicolas Cage is like dead or whatever, and he has to jump his heart, right? Like,
Mhm.
you can tell there's something there. There's some emotion that it's in there, but
I
you
almost
can't.
cried.
But you can't. Personally, I couldn't feel it because it's like I feel like I didn't get to see them connect enough. Like Nicolas Cage did a really good job of trying to bridge that when he could, but I don't think he got enough opportunities to with the writing. And not saying necessarily there should have been more scenes of him, but like they should have just been written better. And there
No,
should.
this is what I was saying with like the comparison to National Treasure. It's also like the setup of the team is like there's these 2 guys and a woman, and it's like it feels like John Turteltaub, if he wrote this, or who the fuck wrote it,
Like
still
6
doesn't
people
know how to
wrote
write
this.
women,
Yeah.
and they are literally just like, we need like a female character for love interest, so like let's have her there, but then have no legitimate like other than something that requires her to just be like an object that like also like makes the plot worse, because you then have to like remove Nicolas Cage except from like one scene where they interact together, like Balthazar and Becky at the end of, like, you can never have the 3 of them interacting together. It's like,
Here's
why?
what it is. it's
Why are we making things more
yeah.
complicated? And there's no payoff. There's no like
They
you don't feel better
sacrificed
about.
character dynamics for like visual candy and like
Yeah.
fun quote unquote like magic sequences because whatever, it's a kids movie, yeah, but like if you're gonna do that, it really has to, the action has to be really good, and it's only okay, I feel like, and only sometimes good. Like the concept, like dude, in the beginning, like they're randomly, Alfred Molina's like fighting using his cane to sword fight him from across the room. Like, that's a cool concept, I like that. But do we ever say anything that cool as a concept again? No, probably not.
I don't know.
Fucking
I think it
plasma
shows up in
bolts.
different ways. Again, we're completely off here. There's a car where there's a car chase later
Yeah.
in the movie. I thought they did the car chase well. I thought it was really unique to use like magic in a car chase. That's something I haven't really seen. I thought it was an interesting concept and made this interesting. And like specifically with like the mirror dimension thing they do. Also like the shape shifting cars to like I thought that was actually pretty unique and entertaining. That's another thing I'd pinpoint because I did also like that Alfred Molina. So are we abandoning the plot discussion, or are we just going to talk about
I feel like at this point,
that?
with this far in, with how much we have left, I think we should just talk about what comes to mind.
Right.
Because we kind of already like skipped around, like
I love this
Acting?
movie.
Alfred Molina.
I mean, come on,
I will
he's the GOAT.
confidently say I've never seen him in anything other than Spider-Man. I know he's stuff, especially as a big theater background, represent. But he kills it in this movie. He's a great villain. You want to know who isn't a great villain? Anna. She's only in it for.
Bro, she's barely
I
in
don't
it.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like
And
a
it's
theme
like
park
they-
ride villain, It's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But Alfred Molina carries, and that's another thing. It would be nice to have a little bit more build up. They talk about these like relationships between like with like the love triangle, and then you don't really get to see that much. You don't get to really build that up and be like,
yeah,
why
they just
should I?
keep referencing it, like,
Yeah.
You betrayed me, whatever. Okay, cool.
I thought she already made her choice. That's why Horvath was mad.
Yeah, but like the dynamic between them, I think, should reflect that a little bit more. We should see some more emotion between them about that. There's not even like Nicolas Cage at any point isn't like he says that, right? Does he even ever say like, "Oh, she made her choice"? Like, I'm sorry. He's just like, "I'm gonna stop you." Like, I don't know. Alfred Molina kind of dips into it, but like, I don't know, man. Also, at the end, he almost throws her. Does he really care about her? Because he throws her fucking nesting doll in like the fire at the end. You remember that? Morgana's like, throw that away. And he's like, okay. And like throws it away, but Nicolas Cage is like invisible and catches it, right? Or whatever. I don't know. Anyway.
What else?
Well, yeah, wasn't it when the nesting doll was open? It was Nick Cage's girlfriend, but Morgana was like her soul was inside her.
Yeah.
So like she just didn't want the nesting doll. Like it didn't kill her girlfriend, the girl.
I thought her soul was okay. Whatever. I mean, sure. That's what I'm saying. It's all convoluted. Like.
So Nabil, I'm sorry. Again, you get it?
It went over my head. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, you're like stupid. Didn't understand.
The
Yikes!
Anyone else have any thoughts about Sorcerer's Apprentice they want to
We're gonna just give up.
What do you mean
Like,
give up? What else is there to say? I'm asking if anyone has anything else to say.
Better stop
Okay.
talking shit about this movie.
Okay, Octavio, let's get your perspective because you're very fond of this movie, as we know.
Fucking awesome, dude.
Okay.
Literally, like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like Karate Kid with magic. Fucking,
Right.
I don't know. Like,
What about it is like Karate Kid?
I mean, obviously the like master teaching a fucking apprentice kind of thing, and it's like obviously the first time watching it, I was what like 12 or something, and the first time watching it, I just wanted to see what the older like actual sorcerer could do, like if there was any insane magic or whatever. I mean, none of it was over the top, but like I don't know. One thing I do remember, and every time I see it, I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome. Is when Nick Cage is like infiltrating to get to the doll, and he uses this like I don't know if it was a mirror or what. He threw it on the floor, got in the grass, so it was like invisible, and then he came out. Like it was awesome, and every time I see it, I just think that's insane. Because like, I don't know,
Yeah,
I
it's like
never thought that was something that was gonna happen. Like first time
isn't it
watching
just
it, and you see that, just it's
isn't that
like,
just the
holy
invisibility
fuck.
cloak from fucking Harry Potter at that point? Like,
Well, I guess, but he's not like standing there and fucking.
yeah, he throws it
It's
on the
like
grass.
yeah, it's like a trap that he sets, and like I mean, I guess if they found it and broke it, something could happen. You know, like it's not just this thing you're wearing and like whatever.
What do we
It's
think
like
about
more thought out.
overall Jay Baruchel in this movie? Too annoying, not annoying, good amount of annoying. Like,
Borderline too annoying, but I think he's fine. I
I
think
feel
he has
like
some funny.
yeah, he has some funny moments. I think what pushes it is again like it just comes off wrong with Becky. You know, it's like and like what are her motivations for like I don't know.
No idea. She has no purpose.
Yeah,
She
again,
has no purpose.
John Turtletop co-strike again with the women characters.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is it? And
She's-
the only thing in this one is that she like the difference is like she ends up with a pretty guy instead of Nick Cage in this one. Like it's like the same. At least in the other one, she had what is like she likes music. That's her like trait. She likes One Republic. Like I'm sorry, I honestly unlikable.
Well, it's because
Like you like One Republic.
it's literally they forced her entire personality around the fact that they wanted to put One Republic in the movie, right? Like,
Yes, pretty
like
much. I mean,
because
what
I feel
would it
like
be without
otherwise
that?
without that they'd probably do National Treasure tier. They'd be like, oh, she's a history major and she knows all about Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. You know what I mean? Like some shit like that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
But instead they were like, Mr. Turtletub, it's not gonna work out, buddy. What the?
On
For all of you who have listened 2 hours into the podcast, we're now making jokes about AI musicals that we wrote.
I don't know, bro. I think Becky's kind of hot.
You're literally falling for it, bro. You're falling for the mainstream media.
You're falling for the girl. Love is a distraction.
Love is a distraction, Octavio. Are you wearing the shoes I bought you?
That's like I guess something we can talk about in the movie.
Bro, I don't love her.
What?
What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movie, like one of the big things that they try to like I guess if we want to give them some credit, one of the things they're trying to do and why the plot is kind of bouncing back and forth is because that's also like the dilemma between the Dave and like this girl and Magic and also Nick Cage's relationship with the woman trapped in the urn and
The Russian
Magic is
nesting
that
doll.
like choosing your love leads to problems.
But also it's
knows?
okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Darian, I feel like I don't mean to call you out. You know, you don't have to, if you don't want to, but I feel like you're pretty good at like pulling something out of a movie, like thematically, like the theme of a movie that is possible to perceive from it, even if there isn't one, you know?
This one's kind of hard. I feel like that's why it's like I wouldn't really have that much to say out of it outside of like I can try to think about it more, but
That's what I'm saying. I think that's a good point. You know, you're like you're a canary in the coal mine. If you can't find a theme, that's how you know it's not good. That's how you know it's fucked.
It's kind of odd though, like talking about it. Like it feels a bit weird thinking like I enjoyed the movie, but I don't actually know what I would say that the theme is.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like
I wasn't here for Book of Secrets, alright, but I feel like that movie was trying to force a weird theme about, or not even a theme. There's something there where it's like you should talk to this person that you love because there's not actually a problem with your relationship. You guys just need to talk about it, like with his dad and with him in National Treasure 2. But with this movie, I don't know.
Bro, for like the first half of the movie, he's fighting about the fact over himself about the fact of like
He wants to be a normal kid. It's kind of like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the closest I can get.
he's rejecting the call to action.
Isn't there even a line early on about like responsibility where we were like, dude, it's like Spider-Man? I forget.
I think Nicolas Cage says
destined?
it to him when he first picks
He's
him up in the
destined
bird.
to do something, and he has the potential for it, but he's too scared because he knows nothing about it. I think.
It really does feel like Spider. It feels like this movie has weird parallels to like the Amazing Spider-Man. All right,
The way it
the
looks too.
song thing,
Yeah,
the way
the
it
vibe
looks,
of it, yeah.
the way that they're acting about like him being a magician, and it's like, oh my fucking
Well, I think it's
God,
just
what? There's
studio
the flying-
executives just being like, oh, what are kids like nowadays, you know? One Republic?
Yeah,
They liked this one movie by this one guy. Okay, we're gonna make them all look like that, you know?
lady's name from Sony, Amy.
Amy
Bro, what if-
Pascal.
Yeah, dude, this reminds me of like that story where she was like, "I want this." What is it, Mumford and Sons or some shit?
Yeah, what
I don't even know what the song
Gone.
that's really weird.
Give me
and I was like,
reason to believe.
Did Amazing Spider-Man 2 steal the electricity
Brew.
Holy
Wait a minute. When did this
shit.
movie come
This is
out?
2010.
2011? Oh, 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Okay. Yeah.
Amazing
Then,
Spider-Man
yeah.
was like 2014.
Yeah.
That's fucked, dude.
Mm.
That's fucked.
Give John Turtle his fucking roses.
If I could shoot a movie with John Turtle.
It kind of feels like AI.
Yeah, literally.
The time of Turtle.
Can we look this up? Can we look up what is
The
the
next
theme of
series.
the Sorcerer's Apprentice? Let's see.
The
I'll look it up
time
too.
of Turtle.
A young lad struggles with.
What are the themes of the Sorcerer's Apprentice?
Okay, well, I'm
Like,
getting things about the
film.
poem.
No, listeners, do
Disney
we like
movie.
this content we're Googling.
No,
We're
no,
Googling what
hold on. That's
movies
reductive.
mean.
That's reductive. We're trying to see if anyone could eat a piece of shit and find something good to say about it. That's different. Okay.
We're really. I feel like
I'm
we're
starting
really
to. I'm thinking about knocking down
movie.
the rating I gave this movie, honestly. But I'm just saying
This
struggle
is-
between
it's-
good and evil. Come on, that's the number one result. That's how you know it's
Y'all are
fucked.
here for the end of our National Treasure podcast, but it went down a dark,
I'm starting to think this is as bad.
very pissed off.
I mean, it sounds like the source material had a completely different direction and an actual theme, but then this was just extremely loosely adapted into like a movie, just like it's a movie. Shit happens.
Yeah,
There's
shit
people.
happened.
I don't know, but
What else do we have to say about
I don't know. I feel.
I think you could, if I'm stretching it, I'd be like the theme is like something about being like an outcast, you know?
Yeah.
But
Which
it's
is
kind
really
of
original.
But the problem is he instantly falls apart when he decides to become the apprentice because he becomes cocky. He becomes like.
well, so we need to see the second movie. We need to see it never happened.
But there shouldn't have to be a second movie for there to
It
be
would
a
have been like
character arc.
Spider-Man 2. It would have been like Spider-Man 2.
Here's what I'm saying, right? Beginning, geez, I pissed my pants, Morty, and I don't like that. And it took me a long time to get past that. Oh no, you can't come back in my life. I pissed my pants because of you, and everyone thinks I'm crazy. Well, I can shoot fire out of my fingers. Holy shit! Okay, I'll be your apprentice.
All right. Here's the actual theme. I think you're getting to it. It's like, oh, I'm a smart, nerdy kid, and I got bullied. But then it's like, but isn't that cool? Isn't being smart cool? Because you can like,
Being
do
smart
magic.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of is because how does he win at the
uses
end of the movie?
science.
He literally is like science, bitch, and that like he
I think that's probably actually the message they're trying to give to kids.
science,
It's like,
bitch is.
Well,
he's a
Heil
fucking-
Merlin, bitch. How does he use science at the end? Because doesn't he just shoot a bunch of
well,
lasers
they
at
also
her?
talk about the movie. They're like, oh,
Hey.
like it's just science. Like we're just smarter. Like we're not actually magic.
Yeah, it's like the electrical current in your body is.
Yeah, look at the molecules. You know physics. That's like what he says, right?
Well, no, he says so specifically. Gibberish was like, what is this? So is magic real or is it science? And Nicolas Cage is like a little bit of both, you know. So I guess it's a little bit crazy. That's if the whole movie was like the Chinatown scene, I'd be on board, right? You get great action, great comedy from Nicolas Cage. Dude, when they become cops, come on,
The cop scene, yeah.
yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Again, just the
Actually,
visuals.
sake is from Japan.
I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know. That was like a good use
No,
of
and then
him
Nick
being.
Cage is like, I'm in character
Yeah,
because cop.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I wish this
Um,
movie was that.
So let's just skip to like the end of the movie.
So he
So
I don't know. This is the first time I've done this so many times, and this never usually happens. I swear. Am I drunk?
that's what he said.
I guess there's also there's the sub theme of like love isn't bad just because it hurt you. You know,
Like the opposite of Whiplash.
Here's-
the theme of Whiplash is love is
Here's what
bad.
I'm saying, dude. What about that at the end? Okay, we'll get into it. Actually, I don't want to. I'll describe the end in full. So Becky gets kidnapped. They trade the Grimhold for Becky, right? And Dave gives up his ring, but because he's the Primarlinian, we'll find out he'll be able to use magic. But so they go to that one park, and Morgana starts doing the spell to raise the dead, and Balthazar goes alone because Dave doesn't have a ring, right? Big setup, Morty, and they, he fights Horvath, and then Dave's like, "All right, I'm gonna use science to stop them." Right? I woke up in a new Bugatti. He mods his car with the Tesla coil because he's gonna. Now this is where I don't remember. What does he do?
I don't even remember that happening. I don't even.
I think it was like foreshadowing. It's foreshadowing like Tesla. He's
Yeah.
like a young Elon Musk.
So what about when he sends Becky to like go to the top of a building and like mod the satellites to like bounce?
She just
He worked on a
moves
radio station.
satellite
She
out
works at a
of the
radio
way.
station, so clearly she can get on top of a skyscraper and adjust the satellite herself.
No, and she's scared of heights.
Thank you.
She
See,
overcame her
The boat was
fear.
there because the ocean refreezes, and it's a reference to last episode. But
Our listeners will understand. Darian one.
so the Tesla coil is there to, I guess, like
It's like Nabila's
Sorry.
like faking a school presentation.
this is what I did this
Nabil Shari.
once. Should I tell a little school presentation story on the podcast?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in Miss Blee, no, I don't care. Miss Shannon's class was that 10th grade? I think it was 10th grade.
No, she didn't teach.
No,
that.
11th
She
grade.
taught-
Junior year. Yeah, junior year. We had to do a book, which we were dialectical journaling throughout the year, right? Obviously.
Did we have that class together, Nabil, or did we have a different?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Did you have it like second to last? Whatever.
I don't remember.
I don't think. No, I would definitely remember if you were. You were not. I had like Frank. Do I just? Can I say names? Like,
Yeah.
I'll just say first names. I had like
I had
Frank.
Shannon with mine.
Maybe him laughing like the Joker. And what is going on?
Okay. Anyway, in Miss Shannon's class, you had to do a dialectical journal.
I think I just remember something I did with Nabil.
Can we say it? What was it?
Yeah, I remember those two like French homework assignments I helped you with, like within the last like year. The one where you made a poster and we like AI generated.
Well, okay, in college. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
that
then
was.
the posts were like in red. You were like, "Hey, you said this wrong."
Yeah, that's a different story for a different time, I guess. But so we had to do dialectical journals on a book of our choosing, right? And I chose Dante's Inferno because I was like, this seems really interesting. Something I was really, actually interested in, the Divine Comedy. Did I ever actually get around to reading it? No, right? But I faked the dialectical journals, right? The whole year goes by. And then I realized, because I wasn't paying attention, that at the end of the year you have to do a full class presentation on the book. I don't know if you remember this, Casey. It's like literally by design supposed to be like 30 to 45 minutes, right? I don't know what to do. But for some reason I was like, I'll wing it. And so I was like, at the very least it'll be funny. So I only did like 3 slides or something like that. Like only like 10 minutes of content at a stretch. I get to the end of the 10 minutes, right? Look at the clock, not nearly long enough. And I start repeating myself. I just go back to the beginning of the presentation and I keep doing the same presentation, thinking that people will start laughing because I'm like, okay, I think this is like pretty obviously funny, but no one's laughing. I'm just like, yeah, Dante was born here, he wrote this comedy during this time and he died. Basically, that's like the gist of what I was saying. Like, and then it got to the point where only like one person was laughing, and then like after about like 5 to 10 minutes of that, she literally was just like, just sit down. And although to be fair, I don't think I failed. So, you know,
Who's the real winner?
who's the real winner? I graduated high school.
I graduated in 2019. I didn't see the shit.
And on another podcast, Octavio, we're going to talk about our Saturday school story.
Please, no.
Okay.
Alright.
Anyway,
So he's doing science with the test coil on his new Bugatti, and he's basically able to.
it doesn't matter what you think. Okay, listen, let's just get to the point here. Nick
kills
Cage gets knocked.
her.
Yeah, no, that's too far. I was going to say Nick Cage gets knocked out.
Yeah.
He's like presumed dead, and then he has
Yeah,
to fight her.
fuck.
He has to fight her alone, and he causes all the wires from like a shed to come and like boost the electricity for him. So he shoots more lasers at her and like just defeats her projection. And then Nicolas Cage is dead, and he's like, "No, you can't die now, Nick." And then he jumpstarts his heart, and Nick's
That
alive.
motion was a little sus.
Isn't it kind of crazy that the other sorcerer didn't think of that? No one fucking ever done that before.
He's the
Dude,
prime
to be
Merlinian.
fair, she got frozen in
It's the only guy that understands a fucking defibrillator works with electrical impulse. Just like the magic.
To be fair, she was frozen in that fucking like doll since like 1000 AD. So
Yeah, but she had
Yeah,
like,
like-
enough wherewithal to fucking French kiss him for 10 minutes. Like,
Well, one of our favorite, historical people, Ben Franklin, on this
BFG.
podcast. BFG. Well, I don't. He's just,
oh, TBF?
TBF. You wouldn't get it, Darian. Sorry, you had to be there. He invented electricity in.
What are you trying to say?
you know,
What-
like-
you trying to
With
link
the
them?
key on the.
I'm half joking about him
I-
inventing electricity. I know he didn't invent electricity, but he discovered electricity. Prior to that, how did these sorcerers? How were they doing electricity shit?
because they went to Italy in the like early like 1300s and saw how they made batteries with vinegar and salt and copper, or they went to Egypt where they did the same thing.
I don't believe.
Yeah.
Do you have
Have
any
you seen
answers?
the
Look, there's a
pyramids?
point. There's a point in this where Nicolas Cage gets possessed by Morgana, right? And he's like, "Day, remember your promise. Kill me." I thought that was interesting. I think they should have done that. I think he should have killed Nicolas. And
Yes, they did it, and then it was literally like less than 5 seconds. It said one, and then they immediately like, knocked him out of her.
yeah,
What the fuck?
it's bullshit.
It was stupid.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Should we just get to the conclusion? I don't know. Octavio, do you have anything you want to say? Do you want to defend the movie anymore?
I fucking love the movie, and it gets the Octavio seal of approval, which means I'm giving it an 8 out of 5.
Can't do that.
Hey guys, we're starting a new segment on the show where when you hear this, it means the movie's been Octavio approved, and it gets an 8 out of 5.
Okay, what's your actual out of 5 rating though?
5.
Are you actually rating it a 5 out of 5? This is gonna fuck up
Yeah.
the average so hard.
It's up there with Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh
with
god. Well, this should be a fun. Dude, it's gonna be like number 3 or 2 on the list. Like,
goated live action Disney movies.
I mean, if you want to rate it low, won't that also bring down the average? Though?
I might have to counteract that. Yeah. No, I'll be honest.
My rating, I will say, it's kind of the same thing with National Treasures 2, where I enjoyed it more while watching it. Talking about it more made me realize how forgettable it is. Like, I intently watched this movie, and I enjoyed it while watching it. I thought it kept my attention. And I think it mostly did. I'm now realizing, because it's a children's movie, it mostly did that through visual appeal, and I did not track until like this, trying to talk about it, how little substance actually there. So I'm going to lower it to a 2. I had it at a 2. I would lower it to a 2.
Yeah. I'll say I rewatched this with Octavia last year on our own. I gave it a 2 then. I rewatched this the other day. I gave it a 2. But after talking about it, I think I have no choice but to drop it to a 1.5.
Lowest rating alongside National Treasure Book of Secrets.
Yeah, I don't. it sucks because there, like I said, there are things that put it up, like things it does better than National Treasure Book of Secrets, but it's not enough. It's not enough to save
Yeah.
the plot, I think.
Mhm.
And that just goes to show how much, a cohesive story matters, and keeping your, like, again, you're, like you said, the fact that we can't even talk about it is, like, absurd. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, that's my rating. Darian,
I think I go 2.5.
fair enough.
My enjoyment of it gets still pretty good.
Yeah, I will say it's always nostalgic to watch it. Brings you back, and it was an entertaining group watch at least. So I can respect that. All right.
Right.
Now we're on the final movie of this episode, which is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh yeah.
So The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, it released back in 2022 and was directed by Tom Gormican, who co-wrote the screenplay with Kevin Atten, rather. Nope, not Kevin Gates. And it's a, kind of a meta movie. Nicolas Cage plays a version of himself, a heightened version of himself, if you will. And I guess we can just jump into the plot if anyone wants to tackle it, or I can. Any takers going once?
I think you should.
Okay. All right. So Nick Cage, he's struggling with his career. He's been passed on so many major roles, and he's not getting any work. Meanwhile, he's also dealing with this younger version of himself in his head, who kind of represents like the side of Nick Cage that everyone thinks about in his movies, where he's very bursting and intense and insane. And I also want to mention, I didn't know this, I did some research afterwards about the movie, and the character, the way he looks and dressed specifically, is based off a interview he did in the 90s, where he just went insane. It was like on coke or something. I don't know if he was actually on coke, but you would think he is. It's a crazy interview. So it's cool that they reference that, like the way that he looks. But anyway, yeah. So he's divorced from his wife. He has a daughter who has clearly been, like emotionally neglected by him. And after losing a role, and that's a very funny scene, of course, where he's like, "No, I'll read for the role," with the guy he's meeting with, and then that same day, goes to his daughter's birthday party and kind of makes a fool out of himself and embarrasses her. After that, he's like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna retire." And he takes this offer, which he initially was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that," which was $1 million to go to the birthday party of a billionaire playboy in Italy. No, sorry, Spain. No, I said Italy. I think they filmed in Italy parts of it. But so at his birthday party, and his name is Javi. And when he meets Javi, he's initially very kind of annoyed, and he wants him to like read his screenplay, and he finds out he's like a really big fan. But they kind of start to bond, and kind of like you see the combination of like Nicolas Cage. So when I say Nicolas Cage, I'm obviously talking about his character in the movie of himself, like the heightened version. Like his incessant like ego and like his need to be like the center of attention, and how that meshes with obviously like his, for all intents and purposes, his biggest fan. But also like the fact that he can like talk to him about film and other things that when he tries to do these things with his daughter or anyone else who's normal, they kind of reject it. So they're starting to grow closer together when suddenly Nick is approached by the CIA, and they suspect that Javi is actually the figurehead of a arms dealing criminal organization, and is behind the kidnapping of the president of that country's daughter. And they kind of force Nicolas Cage in some ways to help them. So Nicolas Cage, he has to like rig cameras during the party. Very funny scene where he accidentally doses himself with a drug, which causes him to almost pass out. Again, stop me at any point, but they kind of tell him that
I think we can. I feel like there's a lot there to talk about if we want to stop now, or if we're feeling like we like go through the whole plot and talk. What do we think? How do we want to approach it? Plot rundown in the specific moments, or stop
I guess we can. I guess we can
You
try.
know-
No, I mean it's fine. We could. I think we can try to power through. I mean, we haven't done that before, right? Where we like actually fully go through and then talk about it. So like, I guess we could just try it to see how it goes. So,
Yeah.
you know, just keep note of what you think of. But the CIA tells him that he needs to stay for longer, so they can. They have reason to believe that the kidnapped girl is on the compound, and so he announces that he was gonna write a movie with Javi, and they go on the next day they have an acid trip, very hilarious scene which I'm sure we'll talk about, and he sees like the shrine room dedicated to all his movies with all the props, and Nicolas Cage almost gets outed, in at least in his own perspective, but Javi pegs it as him being distracted by his issues with his family, so he flies his family onto the island, and Nicolas Cage is starting to freak out because the CIA tells him that they've been discovered. The plot has been discovered. So it's around this point where it's revealed that Javi is not actually head of the organization, but his cousin is, who is the real leader of the organization, and is the one who did the kidnapping, which Javi didn't know about. And so Javi tells, or sorry, Lucas, the cousin, tells Javi that he must kill Nicolas Cage or he'll kill him. And so Nicolas Cage is also told by the CIA that he must kill Javi to get off the island, more or less. So they end up not being able to bring themselves to kill each other, and they get chased together by his cousin's men. Nicolas Cage's daughter gets kidnapped, CIA agents get killed, Nicolas Cage tries to disguise himself as someone else to get into the Lucas's compound and rescue the girls. They get discovered, but then everyone more or less gets away. And at the end of the movie, we transition into seeing that this movie has been adapted to the screen. Nicolas Cage stars as himself, and the film was received very well. Javi is pleased to finally have a movie, and Nick's relationship with his family is repaired, and they watch Paddington 2 together. So that's the movie.
That's it.
That's what you guys came here for, That's what everyone wanted me to cover the plot. So now how do you guys feel about the movie?
I had a lot of fun with it. I'll just say now, I feel like it's a really important movie for the age of Cage, right? Because it's a lot of what it's hitting on. I mean, I think what's strong about the movie is it's very funny, but it also hits a lot of good, like, genuine moments that are not directly related to, like, this idea of, like, iconography of, like, Nick Cage. But in a way, they are all tied into, like, this idea of, like how you perceive yourself and, like, how others perceive you. So I think they're, like, for as, like, haha funny, like, the movie is, I think there is, like, a lot of good commentary on, like, the relationships between the characters, father-daughter relationship, like, the idea of, like a fan connecting with, like, Nick Cage, like, the person, but then the person behind, like, the idea of that is, I think, like, a lot of interesting stuff, like, covered there. And I think that, like, again, ties into, like, what we're doing here, like, with this podcast series. Because on one hand, it's, like, it's fun to, like, get together and talk about all these, like, funny or stupid or really great Nick Cage movies, but, like, there's multiple, like, layers to that. It's, like, on layer, it's because, like, he's just, like, this icon of, like, cinema and American pop culture that a lot of people have this, like, often not really understood, like, connection to. But he's also, like, aside from that, he's also, like, a weird, like, kind of reclusive figure. Like, he doesn't, like, he is kind of withdrawn or reserved at times when it comes to, like, the personal side of him, because he's very much so about his work. And then there's another part of him that is, like, legitimately, like, an extremely talented, like, dedicated actor. So I think he's a person that has, like, many multitudes, and that's something that the movie gets at, and that I think we're also, like, whether consciously or not, at least I'm thinking, is, like, that's something we're also covering in this series. he is all of these things, and all of these movies are part of his like his history and his legacy, which this movie also makes like an interesting commentary about, like the idea of legacy and like, I mean, the title itself, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, is like a central point to the movie, and that it's like something we didn't really mention. The summary is that like a large basis of this is that like he has decided that he has quit acting, like entirely. He's like, I'm done with acting. And I think something that like sticks with me, that is like, I no doubt like the inspiration for the title of the movie, but they don't say outright the unbearable weight of massive talent, but they allude to it, specifically a line from Javi. He's talking about like your gift to the world is your work and your acting, and the idea that you can like just leave that behind when that's like brought so much joy and so many feelings to so many different people. It's a hard thing to kind of like grapple with, right? And I don't think you're like, I'm sure like many people who have done great things can kind of feel that way, but it's also like it's a very interesting thing with Nick Cage himself, because he has such, and they like poke a lot of fun at it, but he has such a wide range of like, whether it's like doing like Willy's Wonderland or Face Off or something like Adaptation, you know. I don't know. I think it's a really cool movie. It's like, it's such a, like, on one hand, it's not like that out there. Like, there are crazier, weirder, but it's a very bold concept that I do think they execute pretty fucking well. Like, I think it takes some balls to like write a movie that is entirely centered on the idea that you're like, this movie cannot be made unless we agree, or like Nick Cage agrees to be in it and
Yeah.
be a large part of producing it. And I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and I did a little bit of, watching some interviews, but apparently they wrote it for a year and a half before even knowing that he would do it, before sending it to him, And they sent it to him, and originally he said no. He said he wasn't interested at all because he just didn't feel like a movie about himself would be interesting. But the director wrote a letter to him, talking about kind of all the stuff that you're saying, and demonstrating that like that they're not some, like, and we talked about this on the Dream Scenario podcast, because there's interviews where he talks about becoming a meme and whatnot, and people not understanding the layers of him as an actor, like generally just thinking that he just is insane or whatever. And the fact that the director exhibited in that letter to him that like genuine respect for his filmography and the vision for the movie was what pushed him to agree to it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, I guess I mean there's obviously a lot of little things to talk about scattered throughout, but I think one other thing to mention off the top of my head is like, I think this movie would be a lot worse if Pedro Pascal wasn't in it. He really brings such a solid comedic foil to Nicolas Cage. Like, I mean, it's literally just like gold, like all of their interactions together. It's really like the heart of the movie. And again, if you didn't have him, I don't know if it would be that good.
His like facial expressions.
Yeah.
I think this is like where a lot of the, funnily enough, I think this is around the time when like Pedro Pascal like baby meme, if you remember, like started around. I think a lot of like the little like, fan cam videos and different things used are from this movie, because he's it like sounds like I'm like, I'm talking about how hot Sam, but he's like, there's a certain energy to him that is like very intentional character playing, that it's like he has this very bubbly like silly personality, and it shows like it's really interesting, like especially as like a theater person. I always like, and Nick Cage is really great at this too, so I think it like carries over well and shows like the differences between but like the physicality in their like acting performances is especially like unique in this movie, and it works to show like what their characters are, and like Pedro Pascal's character Javi is just like this sweet little guy, and that's why it's like and proven to be wrong, but like why Nick Cage is so like no, it cannot be him. Like he watches Paddington 2
Yeah.
rise. Like so yeah, I love him, and like you're saying, it feels like it wouldn't work with Nick Cage, but it also like who else could play that role? I don't know. I can't really think of
Yeah.
off the top of my head at least.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it just I don't know where to go. It's like I feel I don't know. I'm not trying to like necessarily speed ahead or skip ahead, but like just generally it's like I feel like all the stuff we're talking about is so strong in like the first half of the movie, right? Like up to the LSD trip, and then after that it starts to like I don't know, it doesn't become a different movie. It doesn't like lose anything. I still like it obviously, but like it kind of like I think dips a little too much into like the action, like generic action sort of like I get it, it's a vehicle and they even like joke about it, you know, when they're talking about writing their own script, like as like oh you have to have that for a movie. But like I don't know. I feel like the meta commentary of it all like could have been sustained a bit more, but also like I also don't mind like it's obviously like you know happy ending and whatever. I don't know, maybe I'm off base here.
No, I would agree with that. I do think it is like they do joke about it, and like I think that kind of does, for me at least, like alleviate a little bit. It feels like they are like aware of the tropes they're kind of falling into, which I again then like it kind of raises the question of like with it being revealed at the end that it's like how much of the movie is the movie past that point, you know? That's
Yeah.
kind of how I view it, at least. I don't know if that's like insane, but like past the LSD trip, that point is where they are literally like, now we are writing the script. Here's what is going to happen, and then to a T,
True.
it happens. So it's like, you
I don't know. Not to
is
sound like an
that
idiot,
just-
but like I'm not saying they should have been heavy-handed with it, but like I think they could have leaned into that a little bit more as like being clear as to what's happening. Because to me, it just
That's
felt like
fair.
natural, not in a bad or good way, but just like naturally what was happening in the course of events. Like I don't care about the CIA people, you know, like they're kind of funny, but like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like I don't know, like I don't care about the CIA. I don't care about the arms deal. Like I care about like these two guys, you know, and like their connection and like what that says about Nicolas Cage's like personality and filmography in the heightened world. And again, that's still
Mhm.
there, but it's like just dressed around all this other stuff.
And doesn't, I don't know, maybe I'm getting too, maybe I'm falling, but I'm like, what does that in itself though say about his filmography? I don't know if that's too, but
That's a tough question. It's hard to say whether that's intentional or not.
it is hard to say whether it's in. So like, I don't know, yeah. But that's again, that is a complaint that comes up with a lot of his like acting, even though is like, well, to what extent is like this him being, and it gets like talked down a lot, that his acting is not serious, and it's not like, but it's just like a different kind of style.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think the significance of Paddington 2 is?
I think on one hand,
I haven't seen it either.
I think on one hand, I haven't seen it, but I mean, they do say like he said like hobbies was like makes me want to be a better man, which I guess like I'm sure if you've seen it, I don't think they would include that line if that's what it was about to some extent, which I guess ties into the movie's themes
Yeah.
pretty well. But if y'all want a Paddington 2 comedian episode, we can make it happen. Just hit us up with a DM.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't DM or comment for a free DVD, but they're gonna DM or comment for a Paddington 2 episode. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll DM for more content they want.
Are they in the room with us right now?
It's funny. Visual audio listeners, I'm can because I use they them pronouns. Nabil said, "Are they in the room with us right now?" Can.
But that doesn't make sense because if I was talking about someone else who was a he, and Darian raised his hand, like it wouldn't really be that funny. Like I just feel like
Well, like, is it not so? Okay, so you're saying you're clarifying that it's not funny. It's not like you. I thought you were going to say.
let's rewind. Let me just show you by example. Okay, rewind. Okay,
Okay.
I'll be you for a second. Does I don't know. Does Jeff Williams listen to this podcast? And I said, Jeff, listen to this podcast. I think if he was listening, and then Darian, and I'm Darian, right? And Darian's like, I'm right here. That doesn't make any sense. This is garbage, nonsense. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, like, I think, yeah, I mean, you're trying to say that it's not funny because trans?
Nope,
like, that was
not what I said.
Is that the joke, Nabil?
No, the joke is that, I'll be careful.
The joke is that Filmatic is transphobic.
This is the sequel to the clip we did where is Filmatic sexist. Rip Connor.
Is Filmatic transphobic?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not. It was an honest mistake. It was an honest
Clip
mistake.
it.
It was an honest mistake.
Here we go.
It wasn't.
Filmatic sexist. Yeah.
Okay. Darren, what were your thoughts on the movie generally? Anything you want to say?
I agree with like what Casey was saying about how I think it is kind of like describing the synopsis or like I guess like I don't want to say twist, but like whatever, the reveal that the movie is like the movie they ended up making. I feel like it sounds like it could end up like Matchstick Men, honestly, but it doesn't. Like I think they do it in a really like smooth way where it doesn't feel like anything is like dependent on like it's not like the whole like that's why this is, it's not like everything that happened in the movie needs the reveal of that. And also they don't do it in a way where it's like completely like jarring. I mean, like I guess you could say, but I think it's like done in a very like we're not gonna like overly focus on it. And like when it does get revealed, it's kind of funny because they just cut to different people playing his family.
Yeah.
And it's like completely sensible by the time it happens. It's not like that's the thing is I don't think it's like a twist. It's more so just like a point in the plot. So I agree with that, and I also agree with what you guys were saying about Pedro Pascal. I think he's really good in this. I haven't actually seen him in anything else. I haven't watched The Last of Us yet.
He's really good in
but
it.
yeah, I mean, honestly, it does make me like hopeful for Fantastic Four. If he's gonna be like the lead. I mean, I'm assuming the Fantastic Four themselves will like kind of share the role of lead, but I would imagine
he's gonna be like the proto Iron Man of the MCU.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I like saw here, and from what I've heard about his other performances and things that are like totally different, I think it's a pretty good sign. But separate from that, staying on the topic of this movie, I thought he was really good. I think the like relationship between him and Nick Cage is like largely dependent on the way both of them play it. I don't think it's like all on him though, because it's like you were saying, he's like a very good foil to Nick Cage, especially like at the beginning of them meeting, and like where he's like very like cynical, upset to Nick Cage, like I don't want to fucking act anymore. What is this? Like it's like he's playing this just kind of like aloof like fan really well. I think that also I'll tie this into my response to the question about Paddington 2, right? I think that, and I guess maybe what Casey was questioning as well about, like, does the fact that it kind of devolves into, like, just action mean something about Nicolas Cage's discography?
Anthony Fantano here.
I mean, his discography, the Long Legs, Happy Days.
True.
The what?
They released they released a like full length version of like Nicolas Cage's Long Legs character singing. It's like 4 minutes long, him singing like it's not Happy Birthday, it's some like birthday related.
Because in the movie
song.
they claimed that Long Legs sang that for 22 minutes. Remember?
Happy Birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
They so they like posted it on a website as like a thing. We can check it out later. It's fine. Look it up, listeners. Though, if you're And
They're
if
also
you
giving out
look to-
PSA to listeners. They're giving out until, okay, maybe the date is passed. I don't know, but they were giving out for like 2 weeks or something. Anyone whose birthday was on the 14th got a free ticket. You like show it to the
Yeah.
people. It's pretty
Pretty
cool.
cool.
Missed it by 1 day. Missed it by 1 day. Almost. It's fucked up.
Anyway,
I was gonna say though, Paddington 2 or Nick Cage's movies. I think the part where he's like, you have a gift, like it's obviously played as a joke, but I think that's like part of kind of what Nick Cage has to like accept by the end of this, compared to what his alter ego version of himself wants, is like sometimes it's fine to not be like Hollywood star, like I'm doing like a super like pretentiously good movie, because these other movies, i.e. like Paddington 2 type movies, do still matter. And like
Mhm.
sometimes what you're bringing as yourself, an actor that people like, is more valuable than like the quality of the movie, I guess. I think that's like not necessarily like the message of it, but I think that's something that Nick Cage's character, this version of him in the movie, is kind of like has to accept in order to want to act again, which does like happen pretty early on, I guess. But I think that's also kind of part of the whole. I mean, it's also completely a joke, and her character doesn't even mean it. But when she brings up the crudes too, it's like
Mhm.
I think that's still kind of like that's earlier on, but it does come full circle to like it's okay to just make things that people enjoy. And I think it's also directly related to that theme of like his fictional daughter being like, are you making this, are you showing this to me for yourself, or is it because you actually want me to enjoy it? It's kind of like, are you doing this because you want to be like regarded as like an amazing actor, or are you doing it because you want to make a movie that people like? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously it is like very explicitly in the plot of this movie more about the relationship with his daughter, but given that it's not based on his real daughter, like it's just a fake family that he has, I think it can kind of be a stand-in for what I was describing, where it's like, sometimes it's okay to make things for people that are just like, the fans are gonna like it. And like if Javi is like the fan, it's like, I mean, that's ultimately what Nick Cage is doing it for. Like it's people like Javi that, I guess allow him to continue to have this range and freedom. Yeah, it's like we're Javi.
We're Javi. Unironically, though, I mean, like, I think that's a really good take.
You guys, yeah.
It's like, yeah. No, just to say, it's like, I think it is like it's a very like, again, I think it's like it just walks a great line of like being like funny, but also some like deeper moments. But it overall, it left me just like it felt very genuine. And I think that speaks to like what you were saying, Nabil, about like I think the director, like it would have been so like, and I think he obviously wouldn't have done it if it was kind of just like taking like the piss out of it. But like it feels like a very genuine like retrospective on his, not necessarily like his career, like because they aren't like, oh, it's not like, oh, remember this movie when you did this. It's like much more introspective on like what all of that actually means in the context of like who he is and his career. And I'm sure like also at the same time it's definitely like it's obviously like heightened, but it's clear that they had like a real reason to make this movie instead of just like wanted to say something instead of just like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we did this?
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
This is kind of like a general thing, but like I'm noticing there's a lot of movies where Nicolas Cage has a daughter specifically and is like, or a daughter figure, and is like trying to like connect with them, specifically a daughter. And I wonder, like Unbearable, Matchstick Men, Long Legs daughter figure. There's more I was thinking of earlier. I don't know why I'm blanking right now, but there's literally like at least 5. And I was thinking,
Yeah, I mean, even like the idea of like an apprentice, like
Yeah.
Does he have
Dream
kids?
scenario. He has 2 daughters who
Dream
like hate
Scenario,
him. Yeah.
yeah.
I know one of them, not raising hers. One of those older ones also have 1 daughter. Con Air. So it's just like it's an interesting motif in his career. I don't know. Anyway, what do you think about
Maybe
Nick?
that's why that was part of this movie.
True.
Yeah.
So true. It's also interesting that like even if that was like Dream Scenario came out like last year, less than a year ago, you know. And that has that too. So it's like he's still doing it.
Maybe he's just kind of like typecast as like a dad.
At
Yeah.
this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Pig, like
A little pig.
it's not a dog. Somebody.
He's a little boss
parent.
baby. He's in charge of things. He's got little plans
And agenda.
and a little agenda. Nicolas Cage French kissing himself. What do we think?
Yeah, let's talk about, like, you talked about it a little bit, but in general, the imaginary, like,
They refer to him as
Double.
Nicky in the script.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked all those scenes. I think what you were saying about what you heard in interviews and various things, but is really interesting. I think they again do a great job. I think those scenes are a great example of like they're able to balance like the comedy of it and show that like that's what I really like. If this episode on anything, I personally think the best comedies are ones that like there is actual like meaning and depth behind that like comedic value, and I think that scene is a really good microcosm of it's like the situation itself is absurd and the dialogue is comedic, but like you're building it on a foundation of he's someone who is having this great like internal debate, while also this debate is being had by people on podcasts.
I also want to point
about
out
him.
that that was not in the script. He came up with that idea.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that adds even more to like the
Yeah,
concept.
that's so
like,
much more depth to it. Holy shit.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, there was also
But
supposed to be an
this,
extended. Sorry.
I was
That's-
gonna say the sound bite we've been using.
Oh yeah. Nicolas
Honestly,
Fu-
so good. The
that was
breast
also
support-
improvised. Sorry, I want to say. I just remembered. I
Really?
saw that in the video.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, he's so good. It's the fact that he improvised it and held it out for that. It's like a solid 20 seconds of he's hitting a note.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were saying.
There's supposed to be an extended sequence that is supposed to be like Dr. Caligari's Cabinet, like German expressionist film, where it was like his younger self and him. And I mean, there's not much detail, but you can see like behind the scenes stuff of it, and it was supposed to be like pretty insane. And then it's like the directors were talking about it, and I guess it just got cut, which sucks. But makes you wonder how much more was cut that maybe like could have added to that, keeping that meta commentary in the last half of the film, you know, that I was saying earlier.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah,
Him kissing himself, though. Do you think he improvised that?
like I said, he
I
did.
mean-
I did just say that earlier.
He improvised him kissing himself
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were saying he improvised that whole scene.
No. He improvised in the scene. Like I don't know if improvised like in the moment, but he came up with the idea the day of that he should kiss himself, I guess.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I thought you were saying he improvised the Nick fucking Cage.
Oh, he did that too. That's what I'm saying. Both of those were
Oh.
improvised. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Him kissing himself, I thought was funny, and again, I'm sure there's some deeper stuff in terms of like specifically, does he say he's like talking to other people, which I thought was interesting. He's like, yeah, Nick Cage smooches well, or smooches
This is good.
Smooches
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I joke. Okay. So is there anything else we wanna say? I mean, I don't know. I feel like we kind of went quick throughout this, but like I feel like we hit all the main things. I don't know. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but
I have notes of some scenes that I want to talk about and just kind of see if anybody had anything else to say about them. Just some funny moments. I think the boat scene, one of my favorite lines, because like they do it's like classic, comedy thing, but they do the repetition of it where his manager, played by Neil Patrick Harris, who I thought was pretty good, is like he doesn't want you to like fuck his.
Oh yeah,
the line
yeah.
is written.
There's
well.
so
He's
that
like,
line specifically. There, especially early on in the movie, they do a lot of writing like that for Nicolas Cage. Like when he's just like accepting his role later on, shortly after he gets to the island, he's like, "You're in an untenable situation," you know. Like
mhm.
the writing for Nicolas Cage is so like tight and like emblematic of his personality. It reminded me of like the dialogue in like The Big Lebowski, you know, like
Yeah.
it was such. It's just like very funny, but also like it's like, I don't know. It's just like perfect dialogue. It's like you cannot write better dialogue than that. You know. That's what was about the line you were gonna say. I know I cut you off, but
No, you're good. Yeah, he says something along the lines of like you don't want to like want me to fuck your wife or watch me fuck your wife.
Well,
or
yeah, because he's repeating the way Neil Patrick Harris said it, which I should point out is the reason that bridged me to The Big Lebowski, because that's like one of the main things in The Big Lebowski is that like characters are repeating things they heard earlier like all the time. So it's like you know, he's just repeating what he said like word for word, and it happens a few more times during the movie.
It does, yeah. And I just thought that whole scene was very funny. He doesn't know that is the guy he's being brought to see. So there's a little bit of like love dramatic in the theater. The next thing after that, yikes,
was booing the theater.
Was the cliff. What you just mentioned, the cliff scene, I think is really great, because that's where the movie like, I think it really like it clicks a little bit. Like I like where it's going before that, but I think it clicks into a certain gear there that's very fun, where they have this moment on the cliff where he's just told like Javi that he's done acting, and Javi's trying to like bait him into like improving a scene basically, which I thought was just like a very tale, because it seems like that's and they're like joking about that, but it's like it seems like something Nick Cage would do, and then he like really it takes him a moment, and they have like a little moment, but then with that line like you're in an untenable position, and he just like snaps, and like he's so talented, and like how he physically turns that like aspect of himself, it's so impressive, and it's how he does his voice that, as we've learned, very hard to nail down. But we'll get there. Over 20 episodes by the end, it feels like Nick Cage.
Well, by the end, he'll be doing the intros himself because he'll be on the podcast.
That's true. Listen, I don't want to like spoil it, but we gotta get some like Cage AI, like we did for like when we had. Oh
yeah,
Joe
we got to get
Biden
that back. I want to say, yeah. So, referring to the Joe Biden and Joe Rogan AI we did, I want to just, who cares? We can talk about it. Darian, I re-listened to the clip of you as both of them, but specifically the Joe Biden one is genuinely gold standard, like improv tier. Like we were not giving you a lot to work with. Like dude, we should rewatch it after this because
so good.
No, like we're not giving you a lot to work with from like an improv perspective. Like we're not giving you many offers, you know. We're just like, oh, like Joe, like what do you think of Black Adam? You know, whatever, right? But dude, like your answers, or you're just like mishearing what I'm saying. I think at one point I just said like, Joe, what do you think of Harley Quinn? I don't know why I said that. I think I was fishing maybe for like a sexual comment or something. I don't know, right? It's not a good like premise for you. But you were like, there's like a pause, and you're like, oh yeah, I love Harley Davidson. They're great motorcycle. Like there's so many like good like things.
Go check out the Black Adam podcast.
True.
Honestly, top 3 filmatic podcasts we've done. It's like that and Tower Heist for me.
Yeah.
Black Adam podcast is so good.
I will say also,
I listen to.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's a good one. Black Adam, or People in the Streets Are Saying Long Live the Champion is the name of the episode.
It's true, that is the full title.
Tower Heist. I will say National Treasure. I know at the time when we were recording it, I said it was becoming the least accessible podcast, but the beginning is really funny. The first, like, you know, I mean, overall it's a good episode, but like the beginning especially is really funny, where we're just like, I don't know if you were drunk. I think you might have been drunk, but it was When you're
I don't-
when
I
you're
don't
drunk, you do
know.
really well. You with comedy,
Yeah.
you know. You,
Yeah, so I should do that more.
well, dude, I didn't know everyone was drunk on the Tower Heist podcast, but
Oh yeah, no, I mean that one
you
was
were drunk. Evan was
drunk.
blasted. I don't.
Yeah.
I guess me and Justin were probably the only
I
ones.
think Evan was just drinking like a whole bottle of wine. during
Yeah,
the
dude, it's
podcast.
wild. It is.
Go check out Tower Heists
Tower
podcast
Heist is
as
good.
well.
Yeah,
Who knows? Maybe there'll be a. I don't know. Maybe we're doing another.
sequel.
Yeah. Who knows?
Redux. Yeah.
Cliff scene was good. Just like very lightly touching on the cameras, like the security cameras poison scene where he touches himself with the CIA like incapacitating agent. I think that's really fun because it offsets, like it makes it clear. I think it leans more into it that like this. They do a really good job, and I think the first example what I'm trying to say is like they balance the fact that he is not like an actual action hero. Like he's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
So they don't try to like, he's still like, this is not his world. Just because he's an actor who plays action heroes doesn't mean he's suddenly able. And I think that's something that like in other comedies that would something like this. I feel like I've seen other shit like that where they're like, oh, suddenly they have these capabilities that it's like you're just a normal fucking person.
Yeah,
Why are you like suddenly
like a the Rock like Netflix tier movie, like
yeah
Red Notice or whatever.
yeah
Central
so
Intelligence
I thought
Agency.
that was done,
Yeah.
I thought that was well done. I thought it was fun.
Golden
Any thoughts
Jet.
on-
You guys ever see CIA? You guys ever see Central Intelligence? No one? Just me.
Is that the Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
I have seen that.
Let's go.
I don't remember. I
Oh,
think I
damn.
saw that in theaters.
Aaron Paul shows up at the end and he says bitch and everyone laughs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember.
But yeah. So
Two more things. The scene where he does like prosthetics and the Italian mob boss is hilarious. I honestly I think one of my favorite is they set it up to be like so cool, and then he walks into the compound and is like doing the whole like voice, and he's again like he is like so great. He's like moving around like this, and then the
instantly
guy just
gets pistol whipped.
and tries to cut his fucking ear off. And again, he's like made to look like a pussy because he's again just like a guy. So I love that moment. I think like is really great like character, and they give like a which I think is nice. And then maybe lastly to talk about just because it's probably like one of the most memorable. It's definitely one of the most like things from the movie. Is the acid scene.
Oh yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
So funny. It
It's awesome.
encapsulates like what it I think like what theoretically would feel like to be high for the first time, like
Yeah, like
Yeah.
theoretically.
hypothetically. Like I know Darian,
yeah,
like you
and,
pointed out, like we were all drawing like our own like experiences from like that, like especially like the part where it's like those guys watching us,
Yeah.
like
and then they
the
do,
immediate
like,
Pedro Pascal looking like directly at them and laughing like
you can tell like that's a moment where I do think it's like they didn't have to do something like that, but it's like it really seemed like everybody involved, like the writers, the actors, scene, like really having fun with it. And I think like it doesn't like the movie as a whole, it never takes itself too seriously, even when they're like being very genuine or like trying to make like a bigger statement or something. There are always like moments
Mhm.
like that like I keep the story moving still. Like that isn't just like a off, like they actually use it to like and it builds the relationship, I think, of the two characters. Yeah. That's a really the whole like wall moment where they're just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
See-
perfect because it
yeah
lends itself to the overacting as well, right? That like Pedro Pascal is able to like match Nick Cage on, which is impressive.
yeah
But like the whole like screaming on top of the It's like writhing
It's
and
it's something in concept that they showed in the trailers that where it's like you see it and you're like, okay, like I see where this is going. Like the wall is not tall enough. Like they show it in the trailer, I think even possibly. I don't remember. But like the fact that I knew and or at least suspected that that was the bit and like the fact that it was still really funny, I think says a lot. Like I think it's really hard to make something like that actually funny and not like cringe, or at the very least just like whatever, you know? Like I mean, and again, it took like two of the one of the greatest actors possibly of all time, and also another really great modern actor to make that work. But you know,
also I can't drive on acid. You're going to drive on acid, and then he just crashes into like again. I think they maintain like a level of realism that I think is really.
There's also like
important.
constant parts where it's like Nicolas Cage is like, I obviously like can't do this, and he's like, no, but you did it. You did the training for Gone for 60 Seconds, and he's like, yeah, I did do that, and he's still like, or like the part where he's like, okay, you need to go like run over there, really like, and before they see you here, and he's like, can't run that fast. Also, I'm wearing these shit shoes you got me, and he's like, but you did it in a National Treasure, and he's like, oh, that was just the VFX team mostly. But it's like, no, it actually was kind of, I don't know, like there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, really good. This is a good note.
This feels good. Yeah, it's very refreshing. It's like a nice, you know, nice breeze.
Makes me want to bump the movie up.
I was just thinking that.
But I'm like maybe.
Well, mine was probably lower than yours. I'm a harsher grader, but
I think mine will probably stay where it is for now.
Should we get to it?
We're ready for rating?
Unless there's something, Darian, is there anything else you wanted to say before we get to the conclusion? No? All right.
I'm good to go.
Octavio, you want to pitch in anything?
Yeah, I think it's a 3 out of 5.
All right. We'll not be noting your score because you didn't watch the movie.
I did.
You did not.
I watched
Who's the villain of the movie?
I mean, it's the Pedro Pascal character, but it's like not really.
Okay, yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, so Casey, hit us with your score.
3.5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was great. I'd recommend it. I think it could bump up on a rewatch if it holds up. I think it would. And I think it's something I'd like to like after Age of Cage, like as like a, I think it would be fun to do a rewatch. We wouldn't have to do another episode. We'll probably rewatch maybe on our own and kind of use it as like a closing ceremony of sorts. Another theater term. Ashe.
What do you want us to do? Snap our fingers, dickhead? All right.
You all eyes on me and you clap with me.
God, dude. Sometimes theater kids, you just want to.
All right, your rating?
My rating originally had this at a 3 out of 5 when we watched it last night. Okay. However, after talking about it, scaling the other ratings for tonight, I think realistically I gotta bump it up. I'm bumping it up to a 3.5. Okay. And now listen.
We agreed. We agreed.
We agreed. You know, it could stay at there. It could either, I think on the next rewatch, it will either earn a heart on Letterboxd or it will go down to a 3. We'll see where it goes.
Okay.
You know, gotta see how it goes on the rewatch. Darian, what's your score for the movie?
I'm gonna have to go 3.5, but I'm gonna have to bump Matchstick Men down to 3.
Okay. I'll do that.
The other way I would have gone about this is putting this at a 7.5, but that doesn't actually work on a 5 scale.
That's what this is the problem, man. But it's too late. We're in too deep, unfortunately.
I would have also put Matchstick Men at a 6.
Yeah.
6 feels a little harsh, but whatever. 3.5.
Yeah.
3.5 on this one. I considered putting this at a 4, but I think that's just like a little bit too aggressive without watching it again. And I still don't know if it would go. I think you would
get the glazing accusations.
Well, we have Evan's score here. Do you guys want to guess his score?
It's a 2, isn't it?
That's correct, actually. Yeah, it is a 2.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I was just trying to put myself in Evan's mind.
What would you think, Evan?
I mean, I did gain psychic abilities a couple nights ago, so it's not really fair.
It's true.
Nabil, did you also watch that video?
I did watch that video.
So you know what I'm thinking.
I know exactly what you're thinking, and the answer is green.
I don't want to give it away to people that haven't watched the video.
But so we can't calculate the averages until we get M's score. But we'll get that right tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, M isn't on the podcast, so
So-
for these ones, so we can't.
So we should only include the sorcerers that you gave.
I
We'll be
mean,
right back.
they were on the podcast for these two, so ultimately.
Was M
I
here
guess
for
not.
sorcerers? Am I tripping?
Oh, M watched all of them. I was saying, if this also doesn't need to be in the
Yeah.
podcast, but if they're not on the podcast but they watched it, because I thought for Evan he wasn't on the podcast for
Yeah, we were trying to include. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
so we didn't include it.
Yeah, I guess we're going by the same rule.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that
Then
makes
we have the
sense.
average.
So we do have the averages. I'll get those real quick. Octavio, just to be clear, because I'm trying to calculate the averages, are you actually
3.
rating? Okay, 3 out of 5 for Sorcerer's Apprentice.
No, Sorcerer's a 5.
You sure? It's
Yes.
a perfect movie. Okay. All right.
I
Well,
love it.
here we go. Let's see. This might take a second longer because my mouse is gone again, but I'm gonna add them to the list.
Find a card.
Yeah, literally. It's so frustrating. I guess we can just cut out the dead air, or I can just eyeball it. Actually. Okay.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So the averages. Should I read the whole list of what we have so far, including the new averages, or how do we want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Okay.
Read the new averages and then
Okay. So
And
for
then
the new
update the
averages, Matchstick Men, 3 out of 5. Sorcerer's Apprentice, 2.75 out of 5. Even with Octavio's 5, I couldn't bring it up that much. And Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, 3.1 out of 5.
wait, how?
It was tanked by Evans 2.
He wasn't on the podcast.
Holy sh!
Get that shit out of here. Get that shit out of here. He wasn't on
I
here.
didn't give Matchstick Men.
2.
What did he give?
Well,
Sorcerer's
Evan was here for some of Matchstick Men, right? Should we include him for that?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Okay,
fine.
so I'll say move.
So do we need to re-record this for
Yeah, I'll start over.
saying that?
Yeah. Okay. So, here are the averages for the movies we just discussed. At the highest rating, we have 3.5 out of 5 for Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Then we have 3 out of 5 for Matchstick Men. And then 2.75 out of 5 for The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Okay. And then let me look at the other movies. So, our number 1 Age of Cage film is still Dream Scenario. And then it is Long Legs at number 2. And then it is Unbearable Weight at number 3. And then Matchstick Men. And then National Treasure. And then The Sorcerer's Apprentice. And then Book of Secrets.
As it should be.
This feels right.
For now.
This feels like it makes sense.
Feels good. Feels good. It's pretty close to my list.
Now again,
So,
Dream Scenario we included. I used your letterbox ratings. We didn't actually discuss a rating at the time, so I guess that could be subject to change. I don't know, but
I feel confident about my 4.5 on Dream Scenario still. Personally, it's a really good.
yeah, I also give it a 4.5. So we've agreed twice.
Wow, that'll be fun to look through. We're gonna have a big section.
Well, conclusion of
Dedicated to
Cage, because for Summer of Stiller, though we never did it. Our idea was to do Summary of Stiller, where we did.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. They both work so well.
Also,
See,
yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to.
somebody comes up
yeah.
with the next idea. It's gonna be crazy.
Winter of Will Smith. No, okay. So
The
for
Fall, Turtle Tall.
no, that's not happening.
The Fall of Paul Walker.
Holy shit. The Day of Diesel. Only one day.
We do a live
The
stream.
decade of these.
So for Summer of Stiller, Justin and I, on episodes like these, where we had multiple movies, we actually did, we came up with names for the episodes that started with S. So I'll give you an example. And I want, we can decide if we want to do this for this episode or other episodes where we do multiple. But for Ben Stiller, dramatic movies, right? We did Serious of Stiller was the name of that episode, right? We did, and there are some more absurd examples. Hold on, remember I don't have a mouse, so this is very difficult. Holy shit, this is fucked. This is bad. I'm gonna use my phone.
What if we named this one Uncaged?
Well, it doesn't start with C.
Cock Cage.
I think Comedies of Cage is pretty easy.
It's easy, but is it good? Because here's what the other ones we had. We had Stiller Sessions Segment 1 Stylized Superscription. We had Spilled Stiller Segment 2 Sensual Slapstick and Starry-Eyed Semantics. We had Blue in parentheses Steel of Stiller. It's a little bit of a cheat, but still. And then, like I said, Serious of Stiller. So, we could do comedies, that is easy, but we could come up with another C word. Cunt. Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Okay. What's Con Men children's movie, and
the idea is to come up with a word that encompasses.
You just said ones that were a bunch of words. What are you talking about?
No, but those also were all meant the same thing. Like,
okay.
Hold on, let me read it again.
I was saying it could be like playful if it was like a.
Okay, I'm about to hear you out. Yeah, Comfort of Cage.
Yeah, because they're like comfort movies.
I'm done.
They're not actually good. They're just kind of like, yeah, this is fine.
I thought it was a 5. No, I would agree with that, except for Matchstick Men. But for the other
it doesn't
two,
really
I would
fits.
I feel like no offense to this podcast episode, but I feel like these 3 are harder to relate than like some of the other ones hypothetically will be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. To be fair, we did do Serious of Stiller. I think Comedies of Cage would not be like out of the question, like you said. I do think we need to have an insane title for another one, though. Maybe the next one for sci-fi, but we can think of that.
Yeah, I think for this one, it's a little Comedies of Cage, but I think we can have like sci-fi lends itself to like some wacky,
some wild words. Yeah.
Would you say that a Sorcerer's Apprentice is a comedy, though?
Dude, the way you said that sounded like. Did you know that Spider-Man is actually?
I don't know if I would say that's trying with comedy.
Well, we already.
I enjoyed it.
I'm just saying we put the nails are in the coffin for making this the comedy episode. We can't really change it now.
We put Sorcerer in here because y'all wanted to watch it so bad, and there was nowhere else to.
That is true.
I did say at the time.
In that case, maybe we should default back to what you were saying, Casey. Would you say con men, children?
I said. I thought it would be funny to be like con men, just like naming a thing from each movie, like con men, children, and then something else that starts with a C.
I thought you went to children before magic. C. I thought we were just doing the first word as a C.
And the CIA, con men, children, and the CIA flows.
Are there children in Sorcerer's Apprentice outside of the opening scene? There's
not a child. Yeah. We gotta think of another word for that one.
Children's movie. Children's movie.
And what about charm? Charm, like a charm, like magical charm.
COVID.
I'm trying to help you, man, with Con Air. Or
Crocodile.
Crocodile.
Conman, charm.
And the CIA.
Why are we? I don't like the CIA. I don't like this. I don't like using this.
I don't like the CIA. They're not cool.
We gotta use like.
Dude, I got it. Crocodiles, conmen, and children.
Yeah, dude, that's
hyphen Cage.
Where'd you get crocodiles from?
It's like the name of a
dude,
book.
you know.
I don't.
What? It was in the movie.
Which movie? I'm forgetting. What movie? Oh, can someone remind me what are crocodiles?
I don't even know.
Okay, dude, I thought I was losing my mind.
We can do cliffs.
Wait, weren't they in one of the national
cliffs.
treasures? Weren't they?
Cartel.
Come on.
Cartel.
Conmen, charm, and Cartel.
No, children.
I don't like children. I don't want to have children.
Why not?
Children of the Cartel.
But Nabil doesn't want to have children.
Just colon con.
We gotta think of another word.
For Sorcerer's.
I think no. Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'm a fan of charm, but I guess we can vote on it. All in favor of charm, say aye. Aye. All in favor of children.
Children?
Okay. You don't have to word it like that.
Oh, I don't hear anybody, so I guess charm wins.
Where does the movie take place?
New York?
Africa.
New York?
I don't know what word starts with.
Look up words that start with C, Let's get to it. Words for magic? I mean, I'm seeing charm.
Cabana.
Cabanas.
That's the name of the place.
Charging bowl?
Ball.
Cabals.
The cabal.
Conmen cabals and cliffs. Thoughts?
Wait, what about the cartel?
Okay, yeah, conmen cabals.
Okay, I've got it. Alright, I've got it. Con men.
You're cutting out.
Secrets. Like
Oh,
the song.
but that starts with an S.
But it's secrets.
You want me to spell secrets with a C?
Secret. You could do like secrets by one.
Am I losing? What's going on?
Con men.
Accessories.
I don't understand. How do you want me to spell secrets?
Like it could be like C-cret.
What do you think about
I won't.
congenital? The magic is past that
What's wrong with
word.
charm? Did people not like charm? I think that works. It's like,
Population. It's like children.
dude, did you know that another name for magic tricks is jiggery pokery?
Yeah.
That sounds.
What do you think about
Right.
curious? It's kind of a curious.
It's kind of a curious movie.
It's
Words for sorcerer, occultist,
cult.
conjurers.
Oh,
Here we go.
absolutely.
Here we go.
Con
Conjurers,
men.
children in the cartel.
Conjurers.
Conjurers and cliffs.
Great. I think that has the thing I'm most thinking about is like flow, and that has flow to it. Con men, conjurers, and cliffs.
Is cliffs
Oh, I like
enough?
that.
Is cliffs good enough for unbearable? Is it for unbearable weight? Is that good enough of a reference, or is that too niche? Because I feel like conmen and conjurers, you can very clearly tell what we're talking about. Cliffs is like,
Yeah.
unless you've seen the movie, even then you might not realize it off the bat.
Yeah.
Content.
Let's put our heads
I don't
together.
know.
Let's
Conjurers.
Chafing.
Do we want this to be on the podcast?
This should be.
Should we just do the outro?
Rhodium. Dude, some of these words are in
This will be a Patreon exclusive.
cardiosterol.
Well, I don't even know what word to look up the synonyms for. What is unbearable? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Talent.
okay, words for talent.
Acting.
Words for acting.
Competence.
What does he say in the movie? Thespian something? You know what I'm talking about?
Thespian. Not thespian.
Shamanic.
Shamanic, dude. I wish we were still using S. That would have been awesome.
Communist.
Can't say that.
Communist.
Capacity.
You don't know what a synonym is? Conjurer.
That's funny.
Perfect goal.
Words for unbearable.
Cracked.
Crushing. Sucks.
I don't like it. Cliffs.
Capability.
I think Cliffs works.
Sure.
What about cartel? Are we
I mean,
done?
I think Cartel might be better than Cliffs. Or yeah, I can't believe
Are
I'm
they
saying
even
this,
a
but
cartel though?
I was gonna say maybe CIA.
They do,
What about
they do say
children?
cartel in the movie. They say cartel. I think that works. Con men, conjurers, and cartels.
Well, Cartel is already plural. No,
What do you mean?
shouldn't it be
No.
conjurers? Shouldn't it be conmen, conjurers, and
Con-
cartel? The cartel and cartels.
That's
And
there's no flow to that.
is cartels a word?
Yes.
Yeah, there's different versions of.
There's different cartels.
Well, it's like peoples, you know.
What do you mean, you peoples?
There are multiple cartels. There's like the synonym.
All I'm saying is I don't see a dictionary definition for cartels.
Are you fucking kidding? It is a word.
Okay, yeah, plural noun cartels.
There we go. That's the name of.
Bro,
I just what?
What?
feels legit.
Alright.
What's that supposed to mean?
We have to film an outro. Is
This
this
is
all
the
gonna
outro.
be?
No, we'll cut it up. So, well, thank you for.
Alright, everybody.
Yeah, you do it. You do the outro, like Daddy of Five. You know,
that's
do the
good.
outro. You know,
Oh my god.
what is?
Thank you all for listening to another episode of The Age of Cage. It's been great. I've been Casey. Who else
What are you
have we had
plugging?
here?
You have to plug.
I'm plugging Age of Cage. Go, you know what? Just go listen back to Filmatic episodes. Black Adam, as I said, Black Adam.
What
Black
about your
Adam.
show on Wednesday?
Oh, I have I have a show for Sungrazer. Em and I have a show coming up on Wednesday in South Philly. DM. Yeah. It's at a place called the Cantaloupe Kingdom. So, all right. You got
Darian.
Nabil.
Darian.
Oh,
So
Is there anything you want to plug?
I have nothing to plug, unfortunately.
Octavio. Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, shout out Lil Wayne.
Shout out to Lil Wayne. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
he needed that. He needed that.
Shout out Lil Wayne.
All right. And I'm also plugging Age of Cage and
And COVID-19.
Listeners.
COVID-19. Also, I'm plugging. Can we do anti-plugs, like things we don't like? Like my anti-plug is the Canary mission. If you're a hacker, you should DDoS the Canary mission servers.
Pretty
Bro,
good.
you can't
I like
say
that.
that.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I don't even know what. There's no such thing, or I don't know how to play this off. But
I don't know what that.
I don't know what
Is-
that even means. Someone told
Yeah.
me to say that. No one told me to. No,
Well, on that note,
Paid you to say that.
no one. Should we do what we gonna do for an outro? I'll say our names. I'll wave.
KC.
See you next time.
Bye.
I can't. My mouse isn't working. I can't click the stop. Hold on. Unironically, my mouse.
Nabil was gonna go next.
Nabil is
Oh,
lost. It's
okay. Nabil.
never gonna end. We're
Now it's
gonna end.
Octavio's turn.
Driving right now.
Wait, what's that? What the?
Retribution. And then Darian.
Yeah.
You gonna say your name?
Oh yeah, Darian. I was waiting for Octavio, but
He screamed. You didn't hear him scream in approval?
I thought that was because I said he was driving.
Octavio, say your name.
My name is Octavio.
Okay,
And
perfect.
I'm Darian.
Let's go. And I can almost press this. Give me a second. Yup. No. Hold on. This is actually so hard. Why is my mouse missing?
Nabil, why do you keep? Nabil, what's happening? Oh god.